special presentation of New York Mets baseball on the WB11.
The New York Mets are on the air, and tonight from Shea Stadium, the Mets and Phillies tangle in Game 2 of the series after last night's 11-inning victory pulled the Mets to within one game of first place. At the end of the night, there could be 4 teams tied atop this division. Hi, everybody. Welcome to a Friday night at Shea. Dave O'Brien, along with Hall of Famer Tom Seaver. Last night, Tom, the Mets won another one in extra innings. They're now 8-3 in the extra inning ball games. Ty Wigginton in the middle of it again. Yet another clutch hit. This one, the game-winning single off of Roberto Hernandez.
Well, the New York Mets have won 27 of the last 37 games, and Ty Wigginton has been right in the middle of most of those. Last night, a hot shot back up the middle. The throw at home, a bouncer, and the catcher could not hold on. And bingo, the Mets win again. And another one-run ball game, and that has been the experience they've been having in the last 6 weeks or so. Ty Wigginton saying, don't trade me, I can get the job done.
So the Mets and the Marlins right now, one game out. The Phillies and the Atlanta Braves tied in first place. It's the first time since June 30th that Philadelphia has had company in that first place rung of the National League East. Now, looking ahead to tonight, you got to think that Bobby Abreu is the guy in that lineup card that the Mets draw that circle around and say, got to keep him in the ballpark. He had another home run last night against the Mets, and of course he had that game winner right before the All-Star break in Philadelphia.
He got a 2-run shot last night. That accounted for all the Philadelphia Philly runs. You know, if I'm a pitcher, David, when I look at this ball club, the 2 guys in the middle of this lineup hitting 3rd and 4th, those are the guys that you've got to get out, especially Jim Thome, Bobby Abreu. Not only do you have to get him out, you have to keep him in the ballpark as well. But he is an outstanding number 3 hole hitter. Between these 2 guys, you're talking about Abreu and Jim Thome, who's got 400-plus home runs in his career. Between them, they've got 123 RBIs in the number 3-4 spot. To beat the Phillies, you've got to get that number 3 and 4 spot out.
Thome, the top home run hitter in Major League Baseball. He has hit 28. The New York Mets, losers of 95 games a year ago. Tonight, they're playing for first place in the National League East. Tom Seaver and I will be back at Shea Stadium. Your starting lineups are coming up shortly.
It's hard to handicap, really. It's really right now a seller's market, and there's so many teams, there's so much parity in the National League in particular that every team in the National League, at least within 3 or 4 games, feels like they have a chance to get to the playoffs. So there's a lot of competition for it. The price is obviously going to go up. So obviously we're hopeful. We feel like a lot of resources, obviously from a financial standpoint, but also from a prospect standpoint. So we feel like we match up pretty well. It's just hard to predict.
You mentioned it being a seller's market. Do you have to be careful not to just take that first deal and sort of wait out? Because I'm sure when you're in the race, you have a lot more teams coming to you as well with offers.
Sure, it's obviously part of that process. But I think, from our standpoint, we've always felt like that, since as long as we stayed in it, we would definitely be buyers rather than sellers. So that's been our primary focus. And for the most part, if there's a way that we feel like we can upgrade, even if it's incrementally, it may be that we have to move a player off of our major league club. But any major type of deal, we would be adding on to our roster right now.
Obviously, he's actually played very well under the pressure of having his name thrown out there a lot. Is it difficult when a guy plays so well like that to even think about getting rid of him?
Yeah, Ty, to his credit, has put those distractions behind him and has really played at a high level for us. And he's a guy that we've relied on a lot down in the 6th spot for us, the 7th spot at times. But he's been a very productive offensive player, and you don't want to disrupt that, obviously. So it's one of those things that there are players within our organization that are less tradable or less of an untouchable, so to speak, than others. And he's not a guy that we're actively trying to move.
A lot of people thought Scott Erickson would be pitching this weekend. I know he threw a side session. What are your plans right now for Scott? Well, originally we were going to have him start tonight, and the move to get him on our roster was to move a bullpen or a reliever. And with the way our bullpen pitched last night and the fact that they went over 5 innings in relief, we really didn't want to be shortchanged or shorthanded in the bullpen. So it was the easier decision for us just to have Jay start tonight and then push Scott back to Monday. So tonight the Mets will go with the guys that got him here as they battle the Philadelphia Phillies for first place in the National League East. We'll have the big game when we come back with tonight's first pitch.
Friday night here at Shea Stadium, and a great time to water the lawn. Well, actually, inadvertently, the sprinklers just a couple of minutes ago, they fired when they weren't supposed to, just a couple of moments before the first pitch. So the infield will be just a little bit wetter than it's supposed to be at the outset. Starting lineup now brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford store. Jae Seo to face Jimmy Rollins. He is the shortstop with Placido Polanco at second base. Bobby Abreu has hit 19 home runs, an all-star season for him, as it has been for Jim Thome with 28 home runs. Pat Burrell's in left, Ricky Leday in center, David Bell, good bounce back here for him. He's at third. Mike Lieberthal does the catching, and Milwood is the pitcher batting ninth. Jae Weong Seo, a 4-5 record. He's actually pitched well against the Phillies, but has 2 losses to show for it. Tommy is 0-2 with a .284 career ERA facing Philadelphia.
Well, Jay, 27 years old, making his 15th start for the Mets here tonight. Pretty much on short notice with the bullpen working 5 innings last night. Talking to Jim Duquette, you heard him talk about his bullpen. Take a look at the defense here behind Jae Seo. Cliff Floyd, Mike Cameron, Richard Hidalgo in the outfield left to right. Ty Wiggin in the third tonight. Kazou Matsui and Jose Reyes up the middle, left, short, and second respectively. Mike Piazza the start at first base, and Jason Phillips behind home plate. And you're looking at Jae Seo, one of the numbers that jumps off the page to you. 79 innings pitched in his 15 starts. He has given up 89 hits and 30 walks. That's 119 base runners in those 79 innings. So he has had his share of double plays and getting the outs when he has had to.
Jimmy Rollins about to dig in. He takes with him a .266 average, 3 homers, 30 runs batted in. He's back at the leadoff spot this season. Swings at the first pitch, rockets one deep down the right field line, headed for the foul pole, and he hooked it too much. First pitch of the ball game and almost out of the park, but foul by Rollins. So an immediate wake-up call for Jae Seo.
Well, he got a fastball right out over the plate. Jae Seo has given up 13 home runs this year so far in just those 79 innings. This is his 80th inning of work.
So Rick Peterson charting, don't throw that one again. First pitch.
No first ball fastball up and out over the plate with not too much on it pitch. Let's not go there, huh?
That one hit fair and through for a base hit. So Rollins immediately picking on Seo, has himself a single.
Well, he hit the high fastball for a home run foul, hit the low fastball right in the hole between first and second. Look at this pitch. That's down. But, you know, both of them out over the plate. Neither one of them in. See, that ball is on outer half. Actually just off the middle toward the outer half. He stung that ball for a leadoff single.
So Polanco, good bunter, handles the bat very well. A very difficult man to strike out. Steps in on the right side, hitting .264. Rollins is aboard, and so from the stretch. Rollins holding, and there's a swing and a drive. This one foul deep down the left field line. So I think the Phillies have a quick read on Seo. There's another one that Rick Peterson says, well, we're going to cross that off the list. That's not a good idea either.
You know what Jerry Koosman used to be able to do, and that ball was very hittable. Kuzi used to throw that ball inside where the only place that you could hit it hard and hit it out of the ballpark was foul. That was not the case here with the first 2 pitches to each individual hitter from Jae Seo. That was very hittable, and he got away with it.
It could very easily be 2-0. Very easily. Here's the throw over to first base, and Rollins dives in. Very good speed over there.
We talk about it all the time when Al Leiter pitches with that cutter inside of the right-hand hitters, and the only place that they can hit the ball, the hitters can hit the ball, is foul. But those 2 pitches, both of them high fastballs, left out over the plate.
Now Polanco has hit 5 home runs. As Seo comes to the set, throws over again. Now we'll keep an eye, obviously, on Florida and Pittsburgh. They're underway in the first inning at Pittsburgh. The Marlins are now batting. Florida 1 game behind, as are the Mets in the National League East, with the Phillies and the Braves tied atop the division. And of course, we'll keep you posted on Montreal at Atlanta. They haven't started yet, as Polanco steps out of the box. The East standings coming into tonight. Philadelphia has company for the first time since the end of June atop the division. In there for a strike, quickly 0-2. Good off-speed pitch as he changed up on Polanco. 74 miles an hour, fluttered over the plate. But as mentioned, Polanco almost impossible to strike out. He has whiffed just 18 times in 235 at bats. Rollins not running, swing and a miss. He got him anyway. He chased the ball outside the zone and in the dirt, and so collects the strikeout.
He took the changeup down the middle, and that probably is the splitter. It never was a strike, never was going to be a strike. Is off the plate away and below the knees, so Polanco totally fooled by the pitch from Jae Weong Seo.
Well, that brings up the ever dangerous Bobby Abreu. He's dangerous against the National League, but it seems particularly so against the New York Mets. Another home run last night, a 2-run shot. Thursday, the game-winning home run in the bottom of the 9th, right before the All-Star break, to beat John Franco and the Mets. He's hit 19 home runs. Now the first 2 batters have hit rockets on the first pitch. Hit them foul, of course. One man out here, and Rollins is back in.
The one aberration to that is Bobby Abreu is 1 for 11 off of Jae Weong Seo. Now, how does Jae Weong Seo get people out? It's by changing speeds and basically off-speed stuff. Good changeup. Well, that might tell you that Bobby Abreu is a pretty good fastball hitter, which he is.
The runner goes. Swing and a miss. Here's the throw by Phillips. The tag, not in time. Rollins has a theft of second. Got an excellent jump on Jae Weong Seo.
On the first pitch, and change up again. That's probably why Phillips, he was out ahead of his body, was a little bit ahead of his arm. And the ball tailed away from second base. So Jimmy Rollins with his 15th stolen base. First pitch changeup to Bobby Abreu.
And yes, Abreu swung the bat. The 0-1 pitch is on the outside corner. Abreu's in the hole.
Let's take a look at the jump at first base by Jimmy Rollins. And he was gone. That was perfect timing on his part. Gone before the move from Jae Weong Seo. And Jason Phillips knew that he had to rush. He had to get out there, get that ball. It was a changeup. Might have been a fastball. Might have been able to throw him out.
So's 0-2 pitch, down and in right over the shoelaces.
Well, we're talking about a fastball hitter, and Abreu is that, and he has not seen a fastball yet from Jae Weong Seo.
Jim Thome on deck, lurking for Philadelphia. That's hard to believe given the fact that Abreu twice has driven in 100 runs. 5 times he's hit 300. Tuesday night was his first career All-Star appearance. Voted in on the internet by the fans. It drifts away 2-2. He was voted in as the 32nd man. A career .301 hitter against the Mets coming into this season. He's having the best season of his career.
Maybe one of the overlooked players in the game of baseball. He's relatively quiet, doesn't say much. Got an excellent arm. He's a good outfielder. Probably can't steal any of the bases though. 20 stolen bases this year. He's been thrown out 1 time. So he's a smart base runner. There's a lot of things extremely well. Not to look at his grip. See how he's choked up on the bat. He's been that way the entire at bat. Not many guys that hit with power choke up on the bat anymore.
Fly left center field on the move. Floyd and Cameron. Floyd reaches up, plucks it away. Rollins tagging. He is safely into third base, but a fine play. And how about the reach of Cliff Floyd on a long run into the alley? Cameron converging behind him. And Cliff Floyd makes the catch. Rollins advances.
Well, you play together and you learn to communicate a little bit better. And if you remember back with that game in Miami, Florida, and the collision between Cameron and Floyd, they communicated very well right there. Here's the ball hit well, but up in the air off of the bat of Bobby Abreu. And you can see Mike Cameron peel off. Nice play by Cliff Floyd in left. And the speed of Rollins at second base allows him to tag up and get over to third base with 2 outs.
Floyd has really been killing Philadelphia with defense, hasn't he? Including that series up at Citizens Bank. The pitch outside on Jim Thome, hitting .287, 28 homers and 61 runs batted in for Big Jim. The National League All-Star for the first time after 3 trips as an American leaguer. the #1 home run hitter in the majors. He checks it. It's across for strike. 1-1. Thome leading Adam Dunn by 3 in the National League. Manny Ramirez by 2 out of the American League. Having a monster season, and he has an excellent chance to break Mike Schmidt's club home run record of 48, set in 1980. Thome had 47 last year, and now swings half the time in a much cozier new ballpark, Citizens Bank in Philly. Rollins at third, 2 down, the 2-1. Now 3 balls and a strike. Pat Burrell on deck.
Well, we saw when Abreu was up there, he did not see a fastball till he got to 2 strikes and hit it sharply to left center, just got it up in the air. Now Thome has seen 4 pitches and has not seen a fastball yet.
The hitters count. He took a cut. 3-2.
It's either a breaking ball or a changeup. Let's see. Yep, curveball. And still looking for fastball. I don't think he's going to see one.
A lively crowd on a Friday night, and the 3-2 outside for ball 4. So Thome is on. He takes a walk. That was the fastball, but it was certainly out of the strike zone.
It's the second time that Jae Seo has done that, gone to the hitters with his fastball only after he's gotten to 2 strikes on the hitter. And you bet that those hitters in that Philly dugout and their hitting coach are paying attention to that.
Runners on the corners, 2 down. Here's Burrell. He's hitting .272, 15 homers, 62 RBIs. And so really taking his time working with Jason Phillips. First pitch outside, ball 1. The Marlins and the Pirates are 0-0. They're in the bottom half of the first inning. A.J. Burnett on the mound for Florida tonight. Montreal, Atlanta still not underway. And the pitch is outside. How extraordinary it would be indeed. We could have 4 teams in a first place tie by the end of the night if Atlanta and the Phillies are beaten and the Marlins and the Mets get a win. On the inside corner, tough pitch right under the elbows. Burrell not thrilled with it, but 2-1 now. 2 men out. So trying to wriggle away in the first inning without any runs. Although Rollins and Polanco homered off him in foul territory as the first 2 hitters. That one check swing foul by Burrell, and now it goes to 2-2. This is where you're beginning to sense that the Mets are in a race here in mid-July. A big pitch coming up very early, terribly early in the game, but the crowd is into it. Into every pitch. The 2-2 fouled off to the right, down into the corner.
And again back to the fastball with 2 strikes. Looked like Burrell might have been looking for off-speed pitch, and all of a sudden was late on the fastball. There it is, fastball up above the top of the strike zone. One thing about the Phillies so far, they have not had a good swing at any of the off-speed pitches that Seo has thrown.
Burrell a frequent strikeout. The stretch in the 2-2. Outside. Actually put it where Phillips wanted. Just off the plate. That's where the target was.
Yeah, this is a curveball. And clearly down and off the plate away. Sometimes you want to get to 3-2 so you can throw a changeup.
The fake. Rollins darting toward home plate. He heads back to third. Thome not fooled on it. Rollins started the ball game with a base hit, then stole second. Thome moments ago taking ball 4. Pat Burrell trying to capitalize. He's driven in 62 runs. The pitch. Low for ball 4, and he's walked another one. The bases are loaded. Philadelphia threatening immediately with the bases jammed, and Ricky Leday coming up.
24 pitches so far as Larry Boa looks on. Manager trying to get his ball club to get a run across here in the first inning. So 24 pitches. Men on base, 2 of them by walks, the last 2 hitters. And the leadoff single by Rollins.
Ledee, a .303 hitter. He's homered 6 times, 24 runs batted in for the Phillies. The 6th man that Seo will face in the first inning. He checks and it's across for a strike. Rollins, Thome, Burrell from third to first. And the Wolf is at the door right off the bat against Jae Seo, as the Phillies try and jump on the right-hander. The 1-strike pitch to Ledee. Up top, 1 ball, 1 strike. Atlanta taking on the last place Expos, so they have a golden chance to continue to gain ground. The Mets, by the way, still have 12 games left with the Montreal club. The Marlins have 13 left with them. That's on the corner, right along the black edge, and it's 1-2.
As they say, just a fraction outside.
A gracious call by Bill Welke. The 1-2. Looked like the same spot, but he did not get the same call.
Jason Phillips tried to bring it back. They got a gift for the strike last time, and yep, too far outside. That's at least 6 inches off the plate away.
The Mets, in fact, play their last 3 games of the season against the Montreal Expos. These Phillies face them 6 times, Atlanta 9 times. As far as who you're going to fatten up on inside the division, the 2-2. Now it's full. So unwilling to throw a fastball in the strike zone, and now he is on the verge of walking in a run and walking his 3rd straight batter in the first inning. Rollins, Thome, and Burrell. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. The runners to get the head start. Here comes the payoff pitch. Swinging a fly ball into left, should be caught. Floyd there. He's got it. And so survives somehow, despite walking 2 and giving up a base hit. The Mets coming to bat. No score at Shea. Right-hander Kevin Millwood to work for the Philadelphia Phillies. The starting lineup of the Mets is brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford store. For the Mets, Jose Reyes, followed by Kazou Matsui, then Mike Piazza. Cliff Floyd is in left. Richard Hidalgo in right. Ty Wigginton, the hero of last night, is at third base. Mike Cameron in center with Jason Phillips catching and Jae Seo, the pitcher, batting ninth. Millwood 6-5, an ERA of 5.15.
Kevin Millwood, 28 years old, 6'4". About 235 to 240 pounds. Best year a couple of years ago when he was 18-8 with the Atlanta Braves. 6-5 this year and a high earned run average. 108 innings pitched, 123 hits. On a guy that is supposed to be a power pitcher.
Yeah, supposed to be the staff ace, but he's had a disappointing season so far. He has not gone 7 innings in a start since June 1st. 6-5 lifetime against the Mets. Reyes takes outside, and it's 2-0. So Jae Seo wriggling off the hook. He loads up the bases. And of course, all season long, Jae Seo has allowed a lot of base runners. But he gets out of it with a fly to left off Ledee's bat. Good fastball pumped in there for a strike. That's been one of the criticisms about Milwood. That fastball at 90, he can throw it harder. He can run it up there around 95 and fairly consistently. But his unwillingness at times to throw the fastball when he has a big fastball. Fly ball left field, backing up Burrell. With room, he'll make the catch. Jose Reyes retired. 1 man out in the Met first inning.
Take a look at the defense for the Philadelphia Phillies behind Millwood in the outfield. Pat Burrell, Ricky Ledee, and Bobby Abreu left to right. David Bell at third. Jimmy Rollins at short. Placido Polanco, who doesn't like to pronounce that name. Jim Thome at first base. Mike Lieberthal behind home plate.
Tom, say it with me one more time. Placido
Polanco. Placido Domingo.
For your listening enjoyment.
Listening enjoyment when Domingo sings. I
don't know about Polanco. I don't know if he can carry a tune to save his life. Although they say he's just marvelous in the shower.
I pay the price of admission to listen to Placido Domingo sing. Absolutely.
You don't want to see him play second base.
And as a matter of fact, Placido Domingo came to White Sox Park in Chicago and sang the national anthem for us on the day that I pitched, when I asked him to do it.
And did you win?
It didn't make any difference, David. The day was when he finished. By the time he had finished, the day was fulfilled.
It was just heaven, no matter what happened. Matsui backs away from the fastball in the inside corner.
A lot of people don't understand. He's a great baseball fan. Placido Domingo. I saw him do Baida in Chicago when I was there. And I'm not an opera buff. I'm not saying, sporting that at all. But I mean, he is a huge baseball fan. The three tenors and all that, and fabulous music.
Swung on a missed strike 3, and Lieberthal will throw on to get him and complete the strikeout. Kazou Matsui fans.
And to give you the complete run of it, we'll take a look at it again. The off-speed pitch, Matsui way out in front. Now Placido Domingo, huge baseball fan. And you say, well, how can a big opera star, worldwide renowned, etc.? He comes up to me when I won my 300th game to give me 3 bottles of pink champagne. Loves baseball.
Wow. I mean, that's
knows
quite,
it. No, he
that's
knows
a
it.
magnanimous gesture.
And knows the game, too.
I'm not sure about another guy bringing me 3 bottles of pink champagne.
He was 297 bottles short, so.
Very sweet gesture. I still say he can't go to his right to pick up a hot ground ball. Here's Mike Piazza, 293 with 16 homers for Mike, and he looks at a ball inside. Piazza 0 for 4 last night. But his career against the Phillies, he has spun a lot of pitchers' heads. 322, 38 home runs against Philadelphia. Is one of those home runs this year. It's inside from Milwood. Jae Seo got away with it in the very first inning. Boy, he got away with a lot. Left the bases loaded. There were 2 fouls off him that would have been home runs if they were fair. That's on the corner, 2-1. Tell you what, Bill Welke has a pretty wide plate tonight. You would think a good night to pitch. He is adding some inches on the corners. The 2-1. Foul back. All leaving on Piazza. Cliff Floyd on deck. No score first inning. The Mets and the Phillies, game 2 of 4. Long homestand for New York. This is game 2 of an 11-game homestand. 4 against the Phillies, 2 against the Marlins, 2 of the Expos, 3 against Atlanta. All at Shea. Chopper to third. Bell scoops it up, slings it over, and the side is retired. Some nifty work by Milwood. He sets down the Mets in 1-2-3 order. We've completed 1 on this Friday evening at Shea Stadium. We have. And your local Jeep dealers bring our Spanish viewers the chance to enjoy tonight's telecast in Espanol. As Placido Domingo or Placido Polanco.
Getting quite good at that Espanol stuff. I'm duly impressed.
Thank you, sir. We practice in a hotel. That's what I do. David Bell taking high for ball 1. Room service thinks I'm nuts.
You know what? Room service got it right.
The 1-0 pitch to Bell is on the inside corner. And while the Phillies are not getting the seasons yet that they hoped of out of Vicente Padilla, Brett Myers, and a couple of others, they've gotten a big bounce back here from this guy, Bell, whose back problems destroyed his season last year. Rakes that one foul. Boy, there have been some rockets already, all pulled foul off of Seo.
And that's a pitch in. The only place you can hit that ball hard is foul. He got that ball in there. That wasn't really a mistake, I don't think. Did he get it in off the plate? No, he left it right in the middle of the plate. I take it all back. Just too quick. I thought I was in, but that was on the outer half, believe it or not. That surprised me. And that would lead you to believe that either was a changeup, the hitter way out in front, or is not getting as much as the hitters are not getting as much from the fastball as they think they're going to get.
Well, he can't live there. He can't survive.
Oh, absolutely not. Every time he's thrown that pitch right there, I thought he made a good pitch on the inside. And the replays are great, aren't they? They've got great shot from up behind home plate.
let you know where the ball is on that plate.
You want it, Bill Webb will give it to you. Fouled away by Bell. Mike Lieberthal up next.
And it won't take him very long to get it there either, will it?
Record time.
The left-handers. There's the left-handers, yeah.
Tommy Glavine had his little boy with him at the ballpark here today during batting practice, wearing his number 47. Ground ball down to get it. Reyes from the right field grass. Throws to Piazza for the out. David Bell retired 4-3.
2 strikes trying to go to right field, but speediness and quickness of Jose Reyes makes it look very easy, which it was when you get that nice little friendly kick-up hop.
Jose still running pretty awkwardly, though, as we saw last night. Rounding the bases. Got a chance to see Carl Crawford run. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays outfielder, an all-star. I don't think there's a faster man in baseball today. 2 triples last night, and he was jogging into third by the time he reached on each one of them. But Jose Reyes, when healthy and confident in his running stride, be it the old style or the new style that the Mets have been trying to get him to employ, he is certainly in that class as far as speed.
Were you in Tampa Bay last night?
It was indeed. And I'd put Rafael Furcal in that class as well. You're talking about guys who remind you of Deion Sanders. Remember when Deion tried to play some baseball with Atlanta a few years ago? Just that ability to kind of corner on rails around second. Go flying into third like they're not even trying.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Line him up on the left field line and have him run to the outfield position in right field. Who wins?
I think Crawford wins.
Crawford wins?
I think Crawford wins. I think Tony Taylor said it best, the coach for the Florida Marlins. He said he's the fastest man I've seen in 50 years.
Oh, wow.
The 2-1 to Lieberthal is it's softly toward the hole. So gets there and out at first base is Mike Lieberthal. 2 down.
Another curveball hit right off the end of the bat. Cued it right off the end of the bat. And Piazza makes the right play and going for the ball, and a good coverage by Seo. He's a good athlete. And gets over there. Over the ball right to the bag where the pitcher could handle it. Nice play by the second baseman and the pitcher. One of the things that Jae Seo could do, he pinch run for. He's a pretty good athlete. He bounces off that mound. He covers his bases well, fields his position well.
And he can slide at home plate. Remember that big play he made earlier?
I don't like that head first slide. I think we might have had a little meeting in the office. Let's be putting our fingers out in front of our body if we're going to slide.
Yeah, and landing on your right shoulder. Millwood pops this one a mile in the air along the right field line, but not deep. And Hidalgo puts it away. Side retired. So a much better second inning than the first for Jae Seo. Loaded the bases in the first. He gets him 1-2-3 in the second. Bottom 2 coming up. That means Cliff Floyd to swing. He's already made the defensive play of the early going so far.
His play early when the 2 outfielders, they eluded each other. Didn't happen that way on May 29th down in Florida. This looked tragic when it happened. Cameron and Cliff Floyd, you thought they were both been shot by high-powered rifles. Look at this. And Cliff Floyd took a long time for him to get up. Well, we were down there and we watched that game and they were walking off, and Cliff Floyd and Mike Hammer, they started jabbering a little bit at each other. I mean, so you knew they weren't, there weren't any broken bones or a broken ankle or, whatever it was. But it looked like it was long-term disabled list when they ran into each other.
Well, Floyd with a little bit of a thigh bruise, but no real harm done. But that was shortly after he came off the disabled list because of the quadriceps injury. He swings and flies that one to center short. Polanco out. So is Rollins. Leday in, and Polanco takes it. So of the 3, Polanco decides he has the better angle. 1 man out.
Nice pitch right there to Cliff Floyd. Millwood, pretty good fastball, going right in for that front elbow. And see it collapse. See the arms? See the arms are collapsed. That right elbow collapsed. Cliff Floyd really likes to extend. He's not able to extend this because that ball's right in on him. He tries to collapse his elbows, brings those hands in toward his chest, and a little fly ball for the second baseman. He took control out there in that Bermuda Triangle with the 2 infielders and the outfielder.
Here's Hidalgo looking at a strike. Richard at 270. He's homered a dozen times with 46 RBIs. 0 for 4 in game 1 last night. And just 1 for 14 in his career against Kevin Millwood. So looking to improve that number tonight. Fouls that one back. A good cut, but it's 0-2.
Fastball up high and just a tad late by Richard.
The 0-2 pitch from the right-hander. Breaking ball swung on and missed. He got him. That was good morning, good afternoon, good night. Millwood continues to have Hidalgo figured out.
One of my favorite baseball terms.
Thank you. That was just for you.
And you know what it is. It's all about strikeouts. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I used to be reaching Nolan Ryan if he'd ever got to the point when he was with the Mets. He'd go 3 strikes in a row. Good morning, good afternoon, and here comes Uncle Charlie. Good night. 2 high fastballs and then that curveball at you.
I sensed you liked that phrase. It was either I was going to get you that or a bottle of pink champagne.
Well, you owe me $297.
Wigginton at 277, upping the average last night with a game-winning hit right back up the middle. Roberto Hernandez knocked it down with a bare hand, could not make a good throw to the plate. It skipped to Lieberthal. Vance Wilson crossing the plate with a game-winning run in the 11th inning. And Ty Wigginton continues to have one big hit after another. A look at the Newsday quote book. The whole trade deal doesn't really matter. Once you step between the lines, all you think about is the little white ball. If it happens, I guess you have to be excited that another team wants you. Ty Wigginton about the trade rumors hounding him. Jim Thome made it pretty clear, though, that he does not have Ty Wigginton on the market. It's a case, if it is happening, of other clubs inquiring about Ty and his availability. The way he's hitting right now and the big hits that he continues to get, Art Howe doesn't want to think about losing Ty Wigginton in a trade. There's good numbers against this guy, and there's a deep drive to center field. Backing up Leday to the track, to the wall. He's got it. Wigginton just missed number 13. He had the crowd up here in the early going. He flies to deep center field off of Kevin Milwood. He's a .350 lifetime hitter against Milwood. Just shy on the swing.
July 24th as we celebrate 40 years of Mets baseball at Shea Stadium. The first 25,000 adults 13 and over attending the night game against the Braves will receive a Shea Stadium replica courtesy of Toyota. Don't miss out on this exclusive 40th anniversary collectible. For your tickets, stop by Shea Stadium or Keyspan Park. Call 718-507-TIXX or log on to Mets.com.
At Shea Stadium, no score as we go to the 3rd inning. Ground ball missing Piazza. He can't quite get it. Hidalgo along the line to pick it up. Rollins very quick as his 2nd hit of the ball game. He is 2 for 2. A single out of the reach of the diving Mike Piazza.
Jumping on the first pitch again, Piazza. Just not quite enough. Jae Seo, you got to figure that the hitters are going to pull just a tad more because he doesn't have that overpowering fastball. And that's an adjustment that you'll make at first base.
Is that a play as a pitcher you more or less expect a first baseman to make?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, they may be bunching him toward the hole. No, he got the base hit the first time up in the hole, and this one pulls down the line. So now it's just, you know, kind of luck of the draw.
So here's Polanco 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Rollins had a stolen base in the 1st inning, so Seo will pay very close attention to him. 0-0 in the 3rd. As mentioned, the Marlins and the Pirates are underway. They're in the 3rd inning, top half. Pittsburgh leading 1-0. Montreal, Atlanta, they're in the 1st inning, home half. Atlanta batting, 0-0 there. The Braves and the Phillies are tied for 1st in the division. The Marlins and the Mets are 1 game back. This could prove to be a wild, wild summer indeed in the NL East. Outside on Polanco. Now, should the Phillies fail to win the division, and of course they were heavily favored coming out of spring training, they may look back at the 14-game homestand they had leading up to the All-Star break as their season killer. It was a golden chance to gain a lot of ground in the division, and they did not do it. And they're playing their pursuers, the Mets, the Braves, the Marlins. They went 8-6 on that homestand. So they didn't lose any ground, but they didn't gain anything. They had series against Montreal and Baltimore, very beatable teams in the basement of their divisions. And he had remained just one game in the lead after the All-Star break.
You get the feeling the Phillies, just because it's Philadelphia and the fans and the coverage they get, are always looking over their shoulder.
Popped up by Polanco. Kazou Matsui there. Onto the outfield grass for the catch. One man out. Rollins back to first base. I think,
you know what I mean?
Very much the case, and I know that's true of Larry Bowa. All you have to do is examine his comments or be in his office when he's talking about the last 2 or 3 years, which have been frustrating for Philadelphia. And of course, it's all building to this year. They were supposed to be better than they are now. They were supposed to have a bigger lead in the division. They went out and spent money. They brought in Jim Thome. They brought in a bona fide superstar in the heart of the lineup.
New ballpark.
Brand new ballpark, which they're getting tremendous attendance in. And interest in their ball club hasn't been this high in many, many years. But Lieberthal said it best, I think, the other day. He said, pretty much speaking for all of my teammates, we ought to have a better record than we have. We should be better than we are. There are no excuses for that. That's on the outside corner. 0-1 on Abreu. And you know that man, Larry Bowa, is going to take the brunt of it if they falter. Right now they are joined by Atlanta atop the division for the first time since June 30th. The Phillies have company. And I think when you look at what they have to come, this is obviously the key stretch for them. Last night began a string of 24 games in a row against teams with winning records. 24 straight. And they dropped the first one in 11 innings. Rollins on the move. A strike. Here's the throw. Not in time. Another stolen base for Rollins.
Big jump by Jimmy Rollins. And easily at second base. His second stolen base of the evening. He now has stolen 16 times. That one was a piece of cake right there. They had a shot at him the first stolen base in the first inning. But Jason Phillips had no chance there.
0-2 on Abreu. And the pitch. Checked his swing. The appeal. Laz Diaz said no swing.
You know, you're talking about, David, it's a big series or a big stretch of time for the Philadelphia Phillies. Look at the check swing he did hold back. And you can say the same thing about the Mets, too. All these games, you know, prior to the All-Star break against the National League East, and then coming back in and playing the Phillies and the rest of the ball clubs in the National League East. Atlanta Braves are on the schedule, and you know the Mets going to catch them right when they are playing their best baseball of the year.
Yeah, the Mets in a string of 25 in a row against the National League East, in fact, and 18 of those coming after the All-Star break starting last night. 1-2, popped him up. On the infield, Reyes converging on it. So is Matsui, and so is Wigginton. They nearly collide, and the catch is made. It was Kazou Matsui who came up with it. Yeah, Kaz made the catch. The runner Rollins bluffing, but he holds at second.
Well, that is still the pitcher's play to call. Jae Weong Seo left the mound, and he's over by first base. I don't understand this. This is, I guess you're taught a certain way. Maybe the responsibilities are different, but Jae Weong Seo is over by first base, and maybe Art Howe plays it that Piazza comes in and maybe calls one or the other. I mean, every manager and every organization or whatever has their own way to play the game, but in a situation like that, the quarterback on that pop fly is the pitcher to call one player or the other and call it early.
Thome swings and drives one deep to right field, way up there. She is gone. A home run for Jim Thome, number 29. A 2-run shot. The Phillies have the lead off of Jae Weong Seo in the third inning. The major's #1 home run hitter. He had hit only one home run in the month of July. Until that, no doubter to make it 2-0.
400 home run plus in his career. And home run number 29 on the season. And he has as much power as anybody in the game of baseball today.
Take a look at it again. Remember, he got no fastballs in his first at-bat. And I don't think he was looking fastball there. That looked like it may have been a sinker away, and it may have been a straight changeup. But he stayed back, and boom, exploded.
Yeah, and back it went.
Yeah, down and away, and hit it right on the button.
29 for Thome. So unable to duplicate his economical work in the second inning when he set them down in order. It's looking a little bit more like the first inning, although in the first inning he did walk 2 men and loaded the bases. Here in the third, a single, a 2-run homer by Thome, and another stolen base for Rollins. Chopper toward the hole, through for a base hit. Pat Burrell on for the second time, walking a single for him. So clearly this is the part 1 through 5 of the order that Seo is unable to solve here in the first 3 innings.
Pat Burrell splits the seam right between Piazza and Reyes. Reyes has been able to get everything to his left so far in this ball game. Look like an off-speed pitch, and actually off the plate away in an off-balance swing by Pat Burrell.
I'm not sure that's a hit you would have seen Pat Burrell come up with last year, going to right field like that, when he was constantly trying to pull everything, had such a dismal year.
Probably would have struck out because he's trying to pull everything. At least he's trying to put the ball in play this year. Maybe just make contact. You don't have to hit it hard. He did not hit that ball hard. At least he hit it in the right spot.
Well, Burrell had said all through spring training that he was going to bounce back after that disastrous season, that he had corrected his problems, and indeed he has. Cut on and missed by Leday. Last year he hit .209, drove in just 64 runs. It was 52 fewer RBIs than he had in 2002. Now, new Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia has helped him. He's hit 12 of his 15 home runs in that park, but the batting average and the RBIs are way up for him. I mean, Burrell's having a nice year. Bell is having a comeback season. Thome is having a monster year. Abreu is an all-star for the first time. Rollins has settled back in as the leadoff man. He's been very productive. Off-speed pitch drifting outside on Leday.
I mean, Burrell's got to love coming here playing against the Mets. And he has just historically has killed them. 21 home runs against this ball club. Is it 22 now? He hit one in the first series in Philadelphia.
1-2 fouled away as he tried to check the swing. Philadelphia on top 2-0. They have all 4 hits on the board tonight. Game 3 of the series coming up tomorrow afternoon. The Mets and the Phillies. That game at 1:20. Randy Wolf against Tom Glavine. On the outside corner, got him looking. Leday strikes out. He had flied out with the bases loaded in the first inning, but Seo gets burned by Jim Thome. He launches number 29, a 2-run shot, and the Phillies have the early lead at Shea. Well, the Mets are down a couple, but it is early. Yeah, no signs of fear as Mike Cameron leads off against Kevin Millwood. Then it's Jason Phillips and Jae Seo. Mike at 226, 14 home runs. He swings and pops it up around first base, and Thome there. Looking like he was founded at 6'4", about 250.
Former third baseman, by the way.
I'd like to run into him. One man out. Millwood's been perfect so far, 7 up, 7 down to start his night. Jason Phillips batting .214 with 5 home runs. Well, the Mets over their last 22 games here at Shea are playing awfully well. They are 16-6 over that span. For the year, New York 9 games over 500 at home. It's the best home record in the National League East. So a good time to be home for 11 straight. Game 2 of the homestand as Seo waits on deck. Montreal, Atlanta, they're 0-0 in the second. Milwood delivers, and it's on the inside edge for a strike. Phillips in the hole, 0-2.
You know the nice thing about having a season resume in your home ballpark?
And a lot of people, you have to be a baseball player, I think, to understand this too. Or maybe I'm not looking for sympathy here, obviously, but you get the extra day at home after the All-Star break instead of having to get on an airplane and then go on the road. And the Mets had that luxury that after the series in Florida, back here on that Sunday, Mike Piazza didn't. He had to go to Houston. Got to go to Houston. But to a man, those who families don't live here, they, I presume, went home. But you get an extra day at home and just come to work on Thursday. Don't have to get on an airplane on Thursday.
I thought you were going to whine a little more than that. But that didn't sound like you were whining.
Well, that was never a strike before he released it.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, bases empty. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 2-0 Philadelphia. Jim Thome striking for a home run. Millwood firing, and it's too high.
Well, that's a perfect spot in the lineup. There's the 2 All-Stars for the New York Mets, Tom Glavine and Mike Piazza. Glavine had a nice little inning that he pitched. You hit Phillips, Jason Phillips, in the number 8 spot, and if he can get to the count where he's 3-2, he can't sit because the pitcher in the on-deck circle. He can just dead sit on the fastball, and he knows he's going to get it. And he is a good fastball hitter, especially in this kind of situation.
3-2 up and in. He got the heat, but well out of the strike zone. And that's the first Met base runner tonight, the number 8 hitter Phillips.
Take a second to remind you folks that the 2004 season marks the 7th year of the JP Morgan Chase Baseball is for Kids program. Over 800,000 youngsters have experienced Met baseball thanks to JP Morgan Chase's belief in giving back to the community. No dream is too big if you have the right relationship. From our good friends at JP Morgan Chase.
Jae Seo stepping in with a man on for the first time this evening for the Mets. With 1 down, Phillips takes ball 4. Remember, he was going to hold 0-2 before taking that walk. So turning to bunt, up and in for ball.
It was a great shot of Larry Bowa after that, after ball 4 to Jason Phillips. So you've got the number 8 hitter, you've got the pitcher up next, and you go ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4. So the number 8 hitter with the pitcher on deck after going 0-2. And Larry Bowa just shook his head in disbelief.
That's the Jekyll and Hyde that they've been living with for the last several months with Millwood. Up and in again, and knocks him right out of the batter's box. Up around the chin. Here comes Kerrigan. Oh, he's not waiting around. He came flying out of that dugout.
Well, they don't like something that they see. 2 pitches not even close in this situation. Yes, you want the ball up. Maybe you'll get yourself a pop-up, but 4 balls in a row to Jason Phillips, 2 not even close to Jae Seo. What's going on? Why? What's going on? Says Mr. Bowa.
Well, this goes back to last year when he put up an ERA of 6 in September. Really up and down all last season. Milwood at one point, in fact, it was the last start he had in 2003. He tossed his hat and his glove into the stands after he got a quick hook from Larry Bowa. And it's really carried over to 2004. They expected a big year from him. He just can't fire it in there. He's just missed hitting Seo a couple of times, who was simply trying to give him an out and lay down a bunt. Oh, Larry is pacing already. All Jae Seo wants to do is give himself up and make it out number 2 and bunt a man down to second base, and Milwood is nowhere near the plate. That is ball 4. On 4 straight, he walks the pitcher. Bowa is seething.
8 pitches out of the strike zone. And the 4 to Jae Seo, none of them were even close. See, I mean, you reach a certain level, and supposedly Kevin Millwood is at that level, being supposed to be a premier pitcher. That's why they went and got him for the Atlanta Braves. You get in this situation, you throw 2 bad pitches. At most, you should be able to correct your own mistakes.
Sure.
Mechanically, you know what is wrong. And you should be able to do it in 1 pitch. And that's the frustrating thing that you're talking about, David. That's that this guy, all of a sudden, the wheels just come off the wagon, and it's like there's a different human being in the uniform. I mean, you have to have an understanding when you get to a certain level at the major league level, and if you throw one pitch and it's wrong, drastically wrong, you know how to correct it immediately.
He's thrown 9 in a row outside the strike zone. Finally gets one in there. Jose Reyes 0 for 1. He's lined to left.
It certainly looked like he's trying just guiding the ball, the 9 previous pitches. Just trying to aim it instead of throw it. Just let it go, throw it, but he was aiming it.
And when he aims a fastball, he's taking something off.
There's nothing on it.
And it's a BP fastball. Something you can really tag. Here's the 1-1. Fly ball left field along the line. Burrow in fair territory stops to make the catch. And Phillips and Seo have to go back 2 down.
And that was a very hittable pitch right there. It looked like it was up and out over the plate to Jose Reyes. He just hit the bottom half of it. Was it a good pitch or a bad pitch? Oh, that's a good pitch for Reyes to hit. How did he miss it? Just a little tail on it. Where was it on the plate? Oh, right down Broadway. When Jose Reyes is swinging the bat well, that's either triple down the line or double down the line, triple left center. I mean, that was as hittable as they come.
Yeah, he's upset with himself.
Now, to take it again, now the pitcher, if he says, boy, I finally made a good pitch. I must have had a little tail on that baseball. That was straight as an arrow right down the middle of the plate. You just got to hit her with a slow bat.
Kazou Matsui with a hot bat, 0 for 1 tonight. Swings and misses for strike 1. He was 2 for 5 last night. And he has hit the Phillies particularly well this year. Jose Reyes cap there. Leave it on the field. Give it 110%. They just fly it out in the spot here to make it 2 down. Fouled back. Good rip by Matsui. Kaz had 372 against Philadelphia coming into tonight. Overall, he has hit safely in 11 of his last 12 at 385 as he has come to life. But because of the fly out of Reyes, Matsui in a spot where he has to do it with 2 down, and now an 0-2 count.
Take a look at the last pitch. Remember the pitch against the curveball, real bad pitch. Bad swing by Matsui, and then a fastball. Pretty good swing right there. Hitter tell you what kind of hitter he is. Matsui, a fastball hitter.
Inside and right by everybody. That got by Lieberthal to the backstop. Phillips into third, Seo into second. So a base hit by Kazou Matsui because of the wild one by Millwood will tie it.
And remember, David, the pitch to Jason Phillips, the curveball, same curveball, which was never a curveball, and when it left the pitcher's hand, and again the same thing. Almost as if he's afraid to throw the ball over the plate on an 0-2 pitch. Make a mistake with an 0-2 pitch. He throws this non-purpose pitch. That's 3 feet from being a strike. And it's really a pitch that serves no purpose whatsoever.
And yet the Mets are still looking for their first hit of the ball game. The 1-2 outside. Now, from time to time in his career, Milwood has worked with the sports psychologist Jack Llewellyn. Watch where this one missed. That's the same guy who taught him visualizing techniques, just as he did Braves closer John Smoltz back in his days as a starter with Atlanta. He may need some more work on that. Swing and a miss. He strikes out Matsui for the second time. So the Mets threaten, but miss a chance to tie it up with a base hit. 2 men left. Milwood has all sorts of trouble. He walks 2 with a wild pitch. The Mets do. Shea Stadium 2-0 Philadelphia as we check out the Toyota out-of-town scoreboard. The Pirates with a 1-0 lead in the 4th inning. Jason Bay with his 13th home run for the Bucks. Now, Chicago fell to Milwaukee today. The Cubs losing 3-2. Got some good news, though. Mark Pryor, an MRI on his right elbow, showed no structural damage. They're not saying how long Pryor will be out. Milwaukee won that one. Later tonight, San Francisco, Colorado. The American League, Detroit got a home run. They lead the Yankees 3-0. That's in the 5th inning. Tampa Bay, Blackie, Baltimore 2-zip. Chicago, Oakland, Cleveland, Seattle, Boston, Anaheim a little bit later in the American League. 2 runs on 4 hits for the Phillies off of Jae Weong Seo. David Bell, first man to test him here in the 4th inning, and pops it along the right field line. Hidalgo romping hard, makes the catch on the run, and got into tight quarters down there, but made the play for the first out.
Bell going after the first pitch and skied it, and a nice play by Hidalgo. One of the things about getting traded, get to a new ball club, and you get to learn the little nuances of your home field. And that was one of them. His timing was perfect when he looked for, how far away that tarpaulin was when it's stored down the right field line.
Mike Lieberthal, the catcher, stepping in. He is 0 for 1 tonight. He's grounded out to second. Good to have you with us. A lovely Friday evening here at Shea Stadium. Very comfortable. No threat of rain whatsoever. Breaking ball across the knees for a strike. Although that, of course, is the kiss of death. It's just perfect here, Tom.
Kind of slate gray, I would say.
Don't get going with that meteorological talk that spins my head and makes me worry and keeps me up at night.
I'm sure it does.
Now, it's going to be beautiful, and a beautiful day scheduled for tomorrow as well for the 1:20 first pitch. Game 3 of the series, which closes out on Sunday afternoon. 4 games between the Mets and the Phils. Socked into right, a base hit by Lieberthal. And it's hit number 5 tonight for Philadelphia. This one coming out of the number 8 spot right in front of Milwood. We'll see if Milwood has pulled himself together here after a very rocky 3rd inning, although he did not allow a run. 2 men stranded in scoring position by the Mets.
Well, a bunting situation obviously here. Milwood's a pretty good hitter. Pretty good cut the first time up when he flew out to right field. This is a little before the game.
It's about 3 minutes before the first pitch. The sprinklers fired inadvertently.
Can you imagine what Tiger Woods would do if that happened to him?
I don't think he'd be very happy.
I mean, it wouldn't be on a baseball field.
No.
But I mean, it's conceivable that the sprinklers at
up by 2 strokes on the 17th tee at Augusta. Lunged at the button, he missed it, and it's a ball and a strike on Milwood. Could not get it down. He's got himself a 2-0 lead, but he threatened to give that back real fast before getting the strikeout of Kazou Matsui. Wigginton coming in on the third base grass. Bunted toward first, though. Picked up by Seo. He'll tag on Millwood. Into second is Lieberthal on the sacrifice. 2 down.
That bunt attempt right there was, it was reversal of the first one. Now much better balance. Get knees down and stay up and don't be lunging at the ball. A nice little hanging slider to bunt and placed perfectly. His body stayed still there. At least his balance stayed still. One of the little things you do along with fielding, you help yourself with the bat, get yourself a base hit once in a while. Millwood came in here hitting 176, so he can handle the bat a little bit, but it certainly helps himself there, gets a runner to second base.
Well, Rollins has been all sorts of trouble. He has 2 hits and 2 stolen bases already tonight. Back in the leadoff spot this season after coming to spring training as a back of the order hitter. It's had a solid year, though not an all-star caliber season. This guy was a National League All-Star in 2001 and 2002. But in this era of big offensive shortstops, Rollins really doesn't fit in. High fly right field. Hidalgo says he has it. He calls off Cameron, and that is it. Rollins gone for the first time tonight. 1 man left. And coming up when we return to Shea Stadium, the Mets bring up Piazza, Floyd, and Hidalgo against Kevin Millwood. A look at our Lexus line score: 2-0 Philadelphia. The Mets without a hit. And Tuesday at 9, the WB Smash Hit Summer League. Tom Seaver, Dave O'Brien with you from Shea Stadium. Piazza, Floyd, Hidalgo trying to do a little damage against Kevin Millwood, who looked like he was coming unglued in the 3rd inning, walking back-to-back hitters, including the pitcher Jae Weong Seo on 4 straight. At one stretch, he threw 9 consecutive balls, including a wild pitch. But he got Reyes and Matsui to free himself from the inning. That one struck the glove and I think got the home plate umpire, Bill Welke. Ouch. Now let's listen to this. Oh. Right in the chops of the home plate umpire.
Did that get any leather at all?
I think it did a little bit. He slowed it up just a tad. Boy, umpires really hate that. Fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Don't go out Don't go out on a limb here.
I don't think they like that very much at all, Tom. I could be reaching here, but
I mean, you wouldn't like it 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Why not nose level?
Depends on the individual. I mean, everyone has their own taste, but hello. Swinging a drive right field, but Abreu does not panic. He's right there for the catch, and Piazza's 0 for 2. A man out in front of Cliff Floyd. Still no hits for the Mets tonight.
A little slow bat for Mike Piazza. In kind of a mini funk and a mini slump, and a little slow. Little slow. He'll figure it out. See, that ball is back by his back hip. Yeah, just can't generate enough bat speed to get it out of the ballpark.
Cliff 0 for 1. He's popped out to second base. 1 for 4 last night.
Well, they are throwing him inside. Millwood, the first time up against Floyd, jammed it. Floyd popped it up to second base. Watch him try to collapse to get to the ball. See everything collapse. Not quite as bad as the pop up to second, but you can tell what the scouting report is on Cliff Floyd.
Yeah, they do not want to allow Cliff Floyd to extend those arms. He ate up the Phillies in Philadelphia before the All-Star break in a terrific all-around series with the bat and with the glove. Hidalgo up next. And Cliff has quietly put together a very nice 28-game span during which he's hitting .312 with 8 homers and 24 RBIs. He's locked in pretty well. Pops it up. That'll twist back out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He may have had a pitch to hit here. You watch the reaction from the hitter. Yeah, he had a good pitch to hit and missed it. After he fouled that ball off, he ended up in the batter's box on the right-hand side of the plate. Took the bat and tapped his shoes. And then, oh, I had my pitch to hit and missed it.
Well, Milwood is throwing a no-hitter right now, but he is far from mistake-free. Breaking ball, right to Thome. 2 up, 2 down.
Sometimes a pitcher will throw a pitch and you go, how in the world did he hit that? And that was a pretty good breaking ball. After nothing but hard stuff to Floyd, that's a pretty good pitch right there. And at least he makes contact, hit it sharply, just happened to hit it right at Thome. That's a pretty good piece of hitting right there. Yeah, you make an out, but you took a pretty good pitch and hit it sharply. That's one of the best curveballs that we've seen Millwood throw. Remember last inning he threw those curveballs way off the plate and in the dirt to the right-handers? Not even close.
Hidalgo is 0 for 1, 1 for 15 against Millwood. Although pretty good swings like that. And his first time up before he struck out, he had a great rip at a pitch, fouled it away.
Well, what's he get here? He gets a high fastball, and he is a high fastball hitter. Now that means that you don't have to. You will not. Doesn't mean you don't throw him fastball. Look at Pittsburgh got in front of Florida, 5-0 in the 5th.
Now they jumped on A.J. Burnett.
5 big ones.
The 0-1, up and away.
To get back to about fastballs, yes, he's a fastball hitter. Ty Wigginton is a dead high fastball hitter. It doesn't mean that you don't throw him up there. You just don't throw him in the strike zone. You throw them up above the letters, so the old vernacular of the clubhouse, so they can't get on top of the ball, and they'll hit the pop-ups. A little sidearm breaking ball right there.
Now, you and I talk about it all the time. A pitcher might throw 8 innings, give up 1 run on a homer, and they'll say, well, that was the only mistake he made. But the pitcher will be far more honest. He'll tell you later, I made 14 mistakes.
Sure.
That's the only one that got hit out of the ballpark. That doesn't mean I didn't make a lot of mistakes. Well, tonight, Millwood has thrown a lot of pitches that the Mets have gotten terrific cuts on. They just haven't hit them fair, haven't hit anything fair yet. And they're still trying to get that first one in the hit column.
Every pitcher in the world he talked to, so I got away with this mistake. Well, most every pitcher, I should say. I got away with a mistake in the 2nd and the 3rd and the 5th or whatever.
3 balls and 1 strike for Hidalgo, and the pitch up high. That's the 3rd walk in the last 2 innings issued by Millwood. Comes with 2 out.
I swear there's some pitches that Kevin Millwood throws. He throws that just nothing comes out. It just seems to be so out of sync and out of rhythm and out of timing that just nothing comes out. Almost as if he's throwing all arm. There's no accumulation of energy, and then folks in it right at release point, you see the pitch count, very even number, split. between balls and strikes, and you got to beat a 2-to-1 ratio. If you're pitching well, you're going to be at minimum a 2-to-1 ratio. So then you're pitching real well.
Swinging a drive down the left field line. Did he hook it too much? He did. A foul ball. And remember, in the second inning, Wigginton took Leday in center field as far as he could take him. He flied out to the wall.
Well, that's right in the middle of the plate, Ty Wigginton, and he's might kick himself for not keeping that ball fair. He top hand that ball and hit it out of here.
Yeah, but waited a millisecond later.
Yeah, yep. Just a fraction too late.
That almost tied it.
Fraction too early, excuse me.
Wigginton knows Millwood quite well. A 350 lifetime average against him. Boxed by Lieberthal. And Hidalgo stays put.
It's almost, see, that pitch like that. You know, if you left a pitch hanging slider that Millwood hit foul home run. And this one almost like there was no purpose to this pitch whatsoever. I mean, that's that 59-foot curveball. I mean, nobody's even going to bother looking at it. It serves no purpose whatsoever.
The 1-1 pitch will not be made. Hidalgo chased back in.
And then it tells you, so I'm not sure I really want to throw this pitch. If I throw this pitch and I leave it where the hitter can get at it, I don't believe in it as much that he can hit this ball out of the ballpark.
Millwood already sweating right through that cap. Only the 4th inning. The 1-1 off speed and on the outside corner. Where that one tumbled in there and hit the corner.
That's a dandy right there. Wigginton, look how fooled he is. Oh, he is absolutely gone. That's good breaking ball right there. Got a good spot actually off the plate away.
We mentioned it early. Bill Welke's plate is on the wide side, so you better be ready to hit. It's really no surprise that one team doesn't have any hits, because it's certainly a pitcher's plate. I don't think there's anything terribly wrong with that. And I know you're not going to argue the point.
You never would.
It certainly gets guys up there thinking, I better be ready. And be ready to adjust to those extra inches away or inside. The 1-2 pitch in the dirt. Wigginton just looks very, very comfortable. He looks comfortable against everybody right now, but particularly his first couple of bats against Millwood. Leday ran out of Shea Stadium almost on that fly to center field. The ballpark barely held Wigginton's first fly out. Then Ty rips one a mile down the left field line foul. The 2-2. Now a full count. Hidalgo will get a jump start at first base with 2 down.
Good situation here. What do you throw? 3-2, 2 outs. Hot bat at the plate. Has hit the ball right on the button twice.
3-2 high with a fastball. He walked him. For the second straight inning, back-to-back walks. Time for some extra strength. Excedrin Larry Boa. 4 walks in 2 innings. Now Mike Cameron to hit.
You get the feeling sometimes Kevin Millwood doesn't want to throw the ball over the plate. He didn't like the count. He missed with 3 straight curveballs and didn't want to throw it again.
Well, he got Mike Cameron the first time. He popped him up to first. I don't really blame him for not wanting to fool with Wigginton after a couple of swings he's had tonight.
And as hot as bad as he's been swinging, too.
True enough, on the inside corner for a strike. Mike Cameron, though, with 14 home runs. First 2 innings, zipped along pretty good comparatively. 22 pitches in the last 2 innings. 38 for Milwood, including a 4-pitch walk of the pitcher. 2-0 Philadelphia. Too high. A ball, a strike on Cameron. Mike hitting .348 over the last 7 games. 3 of his home runs this season have come against the Philadelphia club. Millwood took a long time looking in for the sign from Lieberthal. The 1-1 foul back. So now the pitcher has the advantage, 1-2.
Take a look at the swing by Cameron. Was he right on it? The ball got in a little bit. Had to collapse. Yeah, ball back even with his chest. Actually, pretty good pitch by Millwood. Don't want to leave the ball out over the plate more than that to Cameron if you're Millwood. Don Baylor, you saw his reaction on the bench.
Hidalgo and Wigginton getting the lead second and first in a 1-2. Drifted away. 2-2.
And trying to throw that breaking ball in the outside corner. Just missed. That's a pretty good pitch right there. That's close to the same pitch you called a strike earlier.
About to say, that's been called a strike tonight.
Yep.
2-2. Ground ball toward the hole. Picked off by Bell. He steadies. Got him. Side retired. So Milwood walks 2 again. His blood pressure is on the rise. 2-0 the Phillies. We're about to play the 5th inning. 2-0 Philadelphia. But first, a look at the Dodge trivia question. Who holds the Mets record for highest batting average in a single season? And we'll have the answer for you shortly as Polanco leads things off. He has struck out and popped up against Jae Weong Seo tonight. First one high for ball 1. After Polanco, trouble, Abreu, and then Thome. And then Pat Burrell. And Thome has hit a 2-run homer tonight. Abreu hit a 2-run homer last night. The Phillies have hit more home runs than any National League team. Jae Weong Seo with a pretty good changeup going tonight. He got Polanco to wave at that one, and it's 1-1. Placido has struck out and popped out to second. Hit softly on the infield. An easy play for Reyes. He guns it over, and Polanco is 0 for 3. One man out in the 5th. Abreu has flied out and popped up tonight. He's having the best season he has had in the big leagues, though. 19 home runs for Bobby. He's really turned the tide of public opinion in his favor in Philadelphia. The last couple of years, there was that nagging feeling about Abreu, at least among Philly fans, that he was underachieving despite hitting 300 every year, twice driving in 100 runs. But making it on the All-Star team this year, it seemed to legitimize for the Philly fans what they were seeing on a daily basis.
You know, I used to go in there, we'd do the Philly game, we'd go in there and read that and say, there are just some players that make it look too easy. You know?
He's a victim of his own grace.
You're exactly right. He is a very graceful athlete, and you wouldn't think a man as big as he is be able to run. He's got great speed. He's got great base running sense, and he makes the game look easy. Well, how come you're not hitting 600? You know, this is another great changeup by Jae Weong Seo, right in the middle of the plate. First out of the inning, Polanco changeup, and a good changeup right there. Talking about Abreu, he's one of those gifted athletes that it makes the game look easy.
And a very laid-back nature as he fouls that one deep down the left field line.
He doesn't wear it on his chest. He doesn't, sound it out, and he doesn't. Not flamboyant, and he's not a good post-game story, and he's not whatever some or all of the above. But you know what? He puts a uniform and he plays. He goes out there and plays day in and day out. Very durable.
62 RBIs for Abreu. The 1-2 pitch. Fouled away again. He always seems to give the Mets fits. And of course, he's playing for the manager who, this side of Lou Piniella anyway, is the manager with the most fire, most passion, and the guy whose head threatens to spin off into outer space whenever he argues with an umpire, and Larry Bowa. 1-2 outside. Good change of pace there. But he missed 2-2.
You know, you're talking about durable. 3 years ago, he played in every game, 162. Played in every game the Phillies played. Last 2 years, Larry Bowa has found 3 or 4 days that make him sit down and don't play. And that's it. Here's a guy that averages about 160 games you play a year in the last 4 years or so.
A very good number 3 hitter as he punches that one to left field. Floyd was backed up in there for the grab. Out number 2. And now Seo has to deal with Jim Thome again as he strides up in the 3rd inning. He touched them all. His 29th home run. That with a man on, a 2-run blow. And that's been a score ever since, as he got to Seo way out of Shea. Thome belted his 400th career home run earlier this season. Now his July has been less prodigious as his April and his May for the slugger. That was just his second home run in the month of July. Last year, I was looking at his numbers, he had 6 home runs in the month of July. Not thrilled with this call.
No, he did not like this call at all. That's a good pitch by Jae Seo. That ball is on the plate.
Oh, it's sure.
Yeah, knee high. That's a dandy. He just doesn't want that to be a strike.
The 0-2. Around the plate, 1 ball and 2 strikes on Big Jim.
Thome's up there saying, you know, I can hit this guy and I can hit another home run, but if you call that pitch a strike, maybe I can't because I got to defend against it.
2 down, bases empty. Got a piece of it to hang in there. Jae Seo making his 15th start of the season tonight. We talked about it at the very top of the show. He hasn't had a lot of luck against Philadelphia. He's 0-2 against the Phils in his career with an ERA of 2.84, so he's had some good outings against them. Big shift on.
2 outs.
Ground ball behind first, knocked down by Piazza. He'll feed Seo with the underhand, and the side is retired. Another good inning for Seo. 1-2-3 go the Philadelphia Phillies. And the dangerous hitter Thome is kept in the ballpark. 2-0 Philadelphia. Authority of Sterling Mets and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mets. Tom Seaver, Dave O'Brien with you from Shea Stadium. Big crowd on a Friday. The Mets with a chance to pull into a first place tie, but they're down 2-0. The Pirates are beating up on the Marlins 5-0 in the 6th inning, and Montreal leads Atlanta 2-0 in the 5th. That's down in Georgia. Jason Phillips with a walk in the 3rd inning. Trying to salvage his season. He needs a big second half to do it, hitting just .214. Pops that one high and very playable. Rollins backpedaling into left field. 1 away. Jae Seo to come up and swing. Right now we touch on our Dodge trivia question. Who holds the Mets record for highest batting average in a single season?
I'm going with Cleon Jones.
John Olerud, 354.
After I guess John Olerud.
After John Olerud. Of course, it was just released, by the way, from the Seattle Mariners.
Are they gotten the broom out there in Seattle? Is that what you presume? Or
I think the Garcia trade, the Freddie Garcia trade, was the first sign of that. And now it continues. That's a team that overnight went from looking to about 32, 33 years old to about 132.
Well, it was Garcia and then Olerud, and somebody else got the axe out there as well, someplace I read. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I know that they were hoping to re-sign Freddie Garcia at the end of the season, but he quickly nixed that idea and signed a long-term extension with the White Sox. That's in there for a strike on Seo. White Sox thinking pennant. They go into play tonight, a half game in front of Minnesota in the AL Central. Seo walked on 4 straight pitches in the 3rd inning. Trickles that one along first base. Milwood, bare hand, underhand, and out. The Mets still without a hit here with 2 down in the 5th inning. As Seo grounds out to the pitcher, and that'll bring up Jose Reyes. Jose in the ball game is lined out to left and flied out to left field, but he started the night having batted 8 times against Milwood, and he had 4 hits in those first 8 trips. The Phillies are one of his favorite teams. .317 career against them. Although a very, very short career, obviously. Kazou Matsui up next. Even with 2 out, Bell, the third baseman, is going to play in on the grass to guard against a bunt. Lined over his head, and a fair ball down the line. The first Met hit. That bounces by Burrell. He chases it down, knocks it down, and Jose settles for the double. So the Mets finally have a man on via a base hit, and it's a 2-bagger for the leadoff man.
Up and out over the plate fastball, and a rifle shot down that left field line. An easy double for Jose Reyes for double of the year. I think that's exactly what the Mets would like him to do. Just run relatively aggressively. We don't have to be Jesse Owens every time we run the base pass, and we don't want you to get hurt.
A little more straight up is the idea as Matsui fouls that one away. Kaz on the night, a pair of strikeouts. He's 0 for 2.
That's the new term of the year. Aggressively with some smarts in it. Intelligently aggressively. Intelligent aggressiveness. How's that?
I'm glad to see you modify it.
There we go. Yep.
The 0-1 pitch. Swing the other way he goes. Down the line. Fair ball again. Reyes is in to score. Back-to-back doubles. Matsui picks up an RBI. The Mets are on a scoreboard. It's 2-1. Almost as if Matsui was saying, I can top that, or at least equal it. I can go to the same spot in the ballpark.
And a curveball. Matsui's seen a lot of breaking balls here tonight off of Millwood, and that was a hanger right there. That was just a roller. And Matsui stayed back, kept his weight back, and went the other way.
Back-to-back doubles for the Mets. He's got Mr. Piazza.
And as Mike was digging in, a jolt of electricity rumbling through this crowd like a high-tension wire. They have come to life. A couple of hits will do that. That's on the inside corner for strike. Mike's grounded out and flied out. He's had a lot of trouble with Milwood in his career. Just 7 hits and 46 at-bats. But Reyes may have started something with 2 out. A run in, back-to-back doubles. Oh, 1 pitch. He checked his swing, and it was inside.
Fastball and a good pitch right there by Milwood. Off the plate inside. All night it's looked as if Piazza's bat dragging a little bit.
Mike with 16 homers. Waves and misses there. Millwood fooled him on an 82-mile-an-hour slider. Piazza with 38 career home runs against Philadelphia. Of course, all it'll take right here is a base hit, and this game is all tied up. The 1-2. Fouled away. Got just a piece of it.
It's got to be another breaking ball. Yep, slider. Yeah, Mike gets enough of it to stay alive. That would have been strike 3.
The Mets looking to rally here against Kevin Millwood in the 5th inning. Floyd next. Should we get that far, there are 2 out. A run on the board. 2-1 the Phillies. Thome with a home run early. That was in the 3rd inning. Inside 2-2. Now Montreal is leading Atlanta 2-0 in the 5th. If the Expos beat the Braves and the Mets beat the Phillies, there will be a 3-way tie in the National League East tonight. And of course, if the Marlins win, that would mean a 4-way tie. Well, the Marlins are down 5-1 in the 6th. There's the 2-2 pitch. Check swing up high, ball 3.
The pitch prior to this one was a fastball, and he went right back in with another fastball. I think he'd probably get the curveball 2-2. Now he's running to 3-2. Piazza, an outstanding fastball hitter.
Strike 3, got him looking. A slider to fan Mike Piazza, leaving the tying run at 2nd. Piazza 0 for 3 in the game. That one trimmed the black edge of the plate. Sixth inning, and the New York Mets have cut the lead in half. It is 2-1 Philadelphia as Pat Burrell leads off by fouling away the first pitch for strike one. He has walked and singled tonight. He's batting fifth, and it's Ricky Leday and David Bell for the Phillies. They got on top 2-0 in the third inning. A long home run to right center by Jim Thome. His 29th. The Mets have fought back their first couple of hits in the ball game with 2 down, back-to-back doubles by Reyes and Matsui. Matsui chasing in Jose Reyes with the first run of the night for New York. Piazza then struck out looking at a good tight slider by Milwood to retire the side. Cut on a miss, and down goes the batter Pat Burrell. He strikes out, one away in the sixth. New York Mets baseball is being brought to you tonight by Acura, a new level of performance. By Verizon, make progress every day. And by GMC, we are professional grade. Game 2 of the big 4-game set with Philadelphia, and in steps Ricky Leday. He's had chances to really bolster the lead for Philadelphia. First inning, he flied out to left field with the bases loaded as Floyd made the catch. And then in the third inning, when it looked like Philadelphia might have had Jae Weong on the ropes, 3 hits and a homer in the inning, he struck out with a man on base. He takes outside for a ball. So for the former Yankees, so far a tough night, as he has gone 0 for 2. That one floats and drops into right center field for a base hit. Cameron in the alley to cut it down, so a single for Leday with 1 away. Well, in 2 innings, in the second and in the fifth, Jae Weong got them in order. He did not allow a base runner. But there were 3 men aboard in the first inning, 3 men on in the third inning, another man in the fourth, and another in the sixth inning. That's been the pattern for Jae Weong this year. Coming in with a 4-5 record, an ERA of 4.76. Plenty of base runners. But he does get a lot of double play ground balls and gets out of those innings. Coming off a no decision in Miami in his last start. He delivers inside ball 1 on David Bell. Baseball traditions run deep in the family tree of the Alous, the Boones, the Griffeys, Barry and Bobby Bonds. No deeper than the Bell family, though, with 3 generations of big leaguers. Gus and Buddy before David. He swings and rockets that one foul. On June 28th, David Bell hit for the cycle in the game up in Philadelphia, and marked the first time in baseball history that a grandfather and a grandson, Gus Bell and David Bell, had accomplished that baseball rarity. And his dad was a standout fielder.
And his grandfather was part of the Big Red Machine before it was the Big Red Machine. Gus Bell played in Crosley Field. I got to play in Crosley Field a couple of years. It was a lot of fun.
Buddy Bell, a marvelous third baseman. That's across for strike 1 and 2.
Fastball in the outside corner, or nope, little slider, and right in the perfect spot. Did it catch the outside plate? Yep, that's been a strike all night.
Would you say it is safe to say that Bell inherited his dad's hands, his soft hands, but not his throwing arm?
Well, he's been it looks a little problematic when he's thrown to first base tonight from third.
Well, he has made 14 errors, and here he will take a seat. He strikes out looking.
And here comes fastball. A lot of change-ups on the night, off-speed stuff from Jae Weong, and you start looking for it, and all of a sudden this 85-mile-an-hour fastball looks like Nolan Ryan. Clearly a strike on the inside part of the plate. Even if it was the corner, yes it was, but the entire ball on the plate. But you see such a steady diet of off-speed stuff from Jae Weong, and all of a sudden that middle-of-the-road fastball looks like it's overpowering.
He faces Lieberthal here. Mike Lieberthal is grounded out and singled tonight. He's hit 11 home runs. He hit 13 last year. And he's actually hit more home runs on the road than he has in his cozy new ballpark, so it's not all a function of hitting at Citizens Bank.
Hey, look at this last pitch. Yep, ball.
and out of the strike zone. Called by Bill Wilkie. He's had a big but a relatively consistent strike zone. You see the pitch count, 97 pitches so far for Jae Seo, closing in on that 100 mark. Jae Seo in his starts to the Mets this year has yet to get through the 7th inning. Normally 5+, 6-inning pitcher. Mets could use a longer outing from the starter to help that staff out of the bullpen a little bit. That bullpen staff, yep.
Well, an excellent job by the bullpen last night in the 11-inning victory. It was a huge part of the win over the Phillies. And there is a right-hander beginning to throw in the Met bullpen. A runner at first base, 2 down. The crowd wants to see an end to this inning. The 2-1 pitch to Lieberthal. Breaking ball, center field. Mike Cameron on the back pedal. He's got it. In the 6th inning for Philadelphia, no runs a hit, 1 man left, and coming up for the Mets, some big lumber in Floyd, Hidalgo, and Wigginton when we return to Shea. Hey, the New York Mets and Delta Airlines present the 9th annual Run to Home Plate, coordinated by the New York Roadrunners Club, coming up Saturday, August 7th at Shea to benefit St. Mary's Foundation for Children of Bayside, Queens. This 5K fun run starts at Shea Stadium in the parking lot, heads west to Flushing Meadow Corona Park, then a turn around the Unisphere, and returns for a finish inside the stadium near home plate. To register, call the New York Roadrunners Club at 212-860-4455 or log on to www.nyrrc.org. I said org, Tom. Cliff Floyd 0 for 2 tonight. He has popped up and grounded out. 6th inning, he hammers a line drive right field. Abreu turning around. It sails up against the fence. You want a long single? You got one, Cliff Floyd. Pounded into the right field fence. And on that swing, that hit, all he gets is a single because he hit the daylights out of it.
And played perfectly by Abreu off the wall. And a good arm holds Floyd to first base in a single. A line drive. Probably 375 feet if does hit that fence. As he busts it out of the box, does he think it's out of the ballpark?
I think he thought he had a double anyway.
Well, I think he's surprised it wasn't a home run, but he may have been thrown out if he'd gone for second base, even if he had been running. Look at that. One hop to second base.
Absolutely, with that throw from Abreu.
Absolutely.
Here's Hidalgo now. Last couple of innings, the Mets starting to get good hacks against Millwood that are finally falling in. 2 doubles in the 5th. A leadoff single by Floyd in this inning. Hidalgo takes ball 1.
Well, we talked about Jae Seo getting to the 7th inning. Kevin Millwood, the last time he pitched 7 innings was against the Mets back on June 1st.
Hidalgo with 12 home runs. 9 of those have come against right-hand pitchers.
And you know, David, your horse has got to pitch more than that. You got to get you deeper. Got to get you to the 8th inning. I mean, and they signed. I'm making a statement which is absolutely true. I mean, the Philadelphia Phillies signed this guy to be their horse. They wanted him to be their 7- and 8-inning pitcher. Racked up some strikeouts and some innings pitched. And at times he pitches lights out, and all of a sudden there are times when who's in that uniform?
Ground ball, third base, backhanded by Bell to second. The stretch got him. Floyd is erased there. Hidalgo becomes the runner at first base. Very smooth play made by David Bell in that opportunity.
You want to know what makes a big league player making this play look easy? Look at this. That right there is worth the price of admission. That's what you don't see at AAA. That's what you don't see at AA. And that's experience at second base and experience at third base about what to do and making it look like it's routine. That was not an easy play. It's not. It's a play you certainly expect, but he made it look like it was a piece of cake. And that's the difference at the big league level.
Ty Wigginton is flied out and walked. When he flied out, he sent Ricky Leday to the wall in center field before he took ball 4 in the 4th inning He took Milwood out of the ballpark, but foul deep down the left field line. Wigginton hitting .347 in July with 5 home runs. Waved at and missed. Good sharp breaking ball for strike 1.
Hey, remember the first time up, Wigginton, fastball, center field, almost hit it out of here. The fastball in left field that was foul, hit out of here. Stanton in the bullpen for the Mets. And Millwood, first pitch curveball right there. Times that Wigginton has seen fastball, he has hit the P. Wadden out of it.
The 0-1 pitch outside. The P. Wadden.
Well, it's an old
P. Wadden.
P. Wadden. It's kind of a country term out there in Fresno, California.
Is it P. Wadden or B. Wadden?
P.
P. Okay. As I write these down, I keep a notebook on Tom Seaver's colloquialisms.
Is it a large or a small notebook?
Oh, it's growing every day. P. Wadden is the new entry, folks. 1 man out, 1 man on. 2-1 Philadelphia. Tried the slider again. 2-1. Ricky Bottalico has now changed spots with Stanton in that bullpen. He's starting to warm up. Mike Stanton was terrific last night. Looked like the 3-day break did him a world of good. Hidalgo leading. Millwood's 2-1. Swinging a high pop to right. And Abreu has all night to get in, and now in a little bit more to make the catch. 2 down.
Well, Ty Wigginton sitting right in the catbird seat right there. He got fastball. Right down Broadway when he missed it. Look at the reaction. See his eyes closed? He can't believe he missed it. He was actually late on the swing. And he ran a couple of bits and down toward first base and flipped the bat away. Well, look at the reaction. Oh, flipped the bat. Oh, how did I miss it? Too big a swing. Then hit it 500 feet instead of 372. That's the right idea going to right field, but too big a swing.
Mike Cameron 0 for 2. Looking for a hit to keep the inning alive here. 2-1 Philadelphia. Up and in for ball 1. Cameron having a good July. .333 for the month. Still trying to push up that batting average to respectability. Just a .226 coming into the game. 2-0. Phillips will hit next if given a chance, but there are 2 down. Same 2 ball clubs coming up tomorrow afternoon at 1:20. Game 3 of the series. Randy Wolf against Tom Glavine. Cameron got jammed. 2-2.
Fastball back inside. Cameron and the collapse again. We've seen Milwood several times tonight go back in there to Cameron, trying to make him, and also with Cliff Floyd trying to make him collapse that swing.
Millwood thinking strikeout. The count 2 balls and 1 strike, and the pitch. Swinging a high, foul out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now, he's had a very good slider the last couple of innings. He used one of them to strike out Piazza with a man at second. In fact, a tying run at second base.
It's probably his best slider he's thrown all night. It's a perfect pitch. Piazza just kind of tipped his hat and walked away, so can't hit it.
Runner at first, taking off. The 2-2 in the dirt. And so Hidalgo moves up. He's safely into second. The tying run there.
Now there's a 55-foot curveball right there. Stolen base attempts against Kevin Millwood. Opponents have been successful about 90% of the time. No chance there at all for Liebenthal to throw the runner out. Hidalgo getting down to second base.
Mike Cameron incidentally made a catch to end the previous half inning. That was his 100th catch at Shea this season. And a whopping $10,000 for the Starlight Children's Foundation. That's his Catches for Kids program. Mike donating $100 to the foundation for every catch that he makes at Shea. And Sharp Electronics adding another $50 to increase the current total to $15,000.
Well done, Michael.
Millwood ready, glances back at Hidalgo, and the 3-2 pitch. Soft one in there, got him, looking for strike 3. A great big curve that tumbled over at 69 miles an hour. That'll break your back trying to hold up on that. Top half of the 7th inning coming up from Shea Stadium, and what happens when Tom Seaver, Dave O'Brien with you as we go to the 7th inning. Kevin Millwood batting for himself and taking a strike. So far he is tossing a 3-hitter and leading the Mets. Philadelphia on top here 2-1. It'll be Millwood, then Rollins, and then Placido Polanco. I can't say that name enough.
What name?
Placido Polanco. Rolls right off the tongue. Millwood disposed of very quickly as he strikes out on a high pitch. 1 man out in the 7th. Let's check out that scoreboard now, brought to you by Toyota as we look at the out-of-town board in the American League. Detroit with an 8-0 lead over the Yankees in the 8th inning. Tampa Bay wins. Texas leading Toronto. Kansas City 7-1 on Minnesota. Later on, Cleveland, Seattle, Boston, and Anaheim. And out of the all-important NL East, the Pirates with a 6-1 lead on the Marlins in the 7th inning. And Montreal has a 2-1 lead on Atlanta. That's in the 5th inning. Later, LA and Arizona. Randy Johnson for the moment remains a Diamondback. Bounding ball and foul by Rollins. He's had a good night, 2 for 3 with a pair of singles. Jimmy grew up in Alameda, California. Went to the same high school as National League Rookie of the Year Dontrell Willis. Jimmy was 4 years ahead, but he was also a pitcher like Dontrell at Encinal High School. In fact, Jimmy's mom, Gigi, became very good friends last season with Dontrell's mother, Joyce Harris. That one flying into left center field. Cameron on the move. He gets there for the out. In fact, the mom spent considerable time last fall chatting about which of them would get to wear the ring as the Phillies and the Marlins battle for the wild card. Dontrell's mother has bragging rights, of course. Her son helping the Marlins to the World Series. 2 down, and here's Polanco. Hitless tonight. He is 0 for 3. A very rare strikeout for him in the 1st inning. 2 runs on 6 hits for Philadelphia. 1 run on 3 hits for the Mets. Both sides have been error-free. So looking to get through 7. Delivers a strike. His fastball has been far more effective over the last 3 innings. He's used it more frequently. And it's been a very solid effort for Jae Weong Seo. Lunging, and he punches that one to Reyes. 1-2-3. Seo in one of his most effective innings all night long. He gets them in order. The fans will stretch. It is 2-1 Philadelphia. 10. Donors must be 17 years of age, at least 110 pounds, and be in good health. To register, call the New York Blood Center at 1-800-933-BLOOD. Give the gift of life. Give blood. Starting to get late here, and it is 2-1 Philadelphia. Jae Weong pitching well enough to get himself removed. As he got them 1-2-3 in the top of the inning, he was scheduled to bat 2nd in this inning. And out he comes. In fact, Jason Phillips will be hit for by Eric Valent, and then it's going to be Kareem Garcia to hit for Seo. So Jae Weong finishing up with actually one of his best innings all year. And one of his best outings of the season.
Well, he certainly got stronger as the night went on. I think he gets himself so wound up to start with that he can't make pitches early. And he tried to force everything, but he was beautiful in the last inning.
Well, in the last 4 innings, he allowed just 2 hits.
The different pitcher in the first couple, wasn't he?
He was on the brink of disaster in the first inning. Loaded up the bases. He walked 2 men. Got out of that without any runs. Here's Vallette. Eric takes inside for ball 1. Karim Garcia will also hit out of the pinch roll. He's up next. Vallette in his last 8 games with an at-bat is hitting .450 with 5 RBIs. Overall at .277. He takes a strike. Art Howe looking for a little left-handed power here. Eric hit his first career home run in San Juan on April 11th. Coming off the bench. Get a start in that one and got himself a big home run. Proved to be the game winner in a 4-1 win. And on April 16th against the Pirates, hit his first career pinch hit home run. Trying to reach Millwood here in the 7th inning. 2-1 the Phillies. Fly ball left field. A routine play for Pat Burrell. And out number 1. So Jae Seo threw 110 pitches, 75 of them for strikes. But he leaves trailing by 1. Jim Thome taking him out of the ballpark in the 3rd inning for a 2-run homer. Karim Garcia at 236. Pinch hitting now for Seo.
I think Jae Seo did tonight. He had about a 2-1 ratio for first pitch strikes as well. A lot of them on, his changeup and breaking ball, off-speed stuff. Then he would throw that fastball when he was ahead in the count.
Ball 1 on Karim.
He sure got better as the night went on. I'm duly impressed the way he pitched from the 2nd inning on. It looked like he might implode in that 1st inning, but a job well done by Jae Seo.
Now we'll have a whole new battery going to the 8th inning. Vance Wilson putting on the gear. He'll be the catcher now because Phillips has been pinch hit for. That's pop foul out of play. 1 ball 1 strike. Couple of left-handers going in the bullpen. Mike Stanton has been warming up for the Mets, and down the left field line for Philadelphia it is Real Cormier. Phillies trying to hang on to at least a share of first place. Right now tied with Atlanta on a top rung of the NL East. Fouled back, good cut by Garcia. The Braves are losing in the 6th inning, though, 3-1 to Montreal. It's the 8th inning in Pittsburgh. The Pirates with a 6-1 lead on the Marlins. The Marlins and the Mets both a game behind Atlanta and Philadelphia. Millwood's 1-2. Breaking ball, foul ball.
Karim Garcia is right on the fastball before that, and either Lieberthal saw it or Millwood saw it, and then he threw the big rolling curveball there, and Garcia way out in front. Nice selection of pitches right there.
Interesting that tonight both starting pitchers, Millwood and Seo, have not been noted, especially lately, going long into games. Haven't been noted for that, but both of them tonight going into the 7th. That's in there for strike 3.
Well, Kevin Millwood hasn't gone more than 7 innings all year.
So this is his season high. If he can get past this inning to get one more out next inning. That breaking ball in the outside corner. You see that Garcia way out in front. There's been a big strike zone all night by Wilkie. But that's perfect pitcher's pitch right there when you're ahead in the count.
Now, he's been flopping up that curveball and getting strikes with it since pretty early in the game, and now it's becoming his out pitch as he fans Garcia. Jose Reyes was the first man to get a hit off of Millwood tonight. That was in the 5th inning with 2 out. He doubled, bluffs a bunt, takes a strike.
How about Jose Reyes in the 1st inning, laid on the fastball, and then in the 5th inning, almost the same swing, but he threw the ball right by him. Millwood threw the ball right by Reyes in the 1st inning, and by this 5th inning, a little adjustment by Reyes or a little slower fastball by Millwood, and that was that double that he shot down the left field line.
Jose takes a strike, and it's 0-2.
He's starting to paint the corners a little bit, isn't he? Curveball on the outside corner, and look at this fastball that comes back to the inside corner. That's a good pitch right there. That's a beauty.
I think Milwood, like Jae Weong Seo, has gotten better as the night has progressed since his rough 4th inning. Ground ball to the middle, caught a piece of the mound. Rollins guns it over and gets him. A very quiet 7th inning for the New York Mets. They are down in order. It is 2-1. The Phillies in front as we go to the 8th. Well, it's been a night for the pitchers. The Jeep game summary: 2-1 Philadelphia. Just 9 hits on the board total. Strong effort by Jae Weong Seo as he allowed 6 hits and 2 runs in his longest outing of the season. Milwood has been very tough to hit. He has allowed just 3 hits. At times he's been quite wild, though. Kazou Matsui with his 29th double, but Jim Thome with his 29th homer. And that is the difference in the ball game right now. It is 2-1. As mentioned, a new battery for New York, Vance Wilson, who scored the winning run last night in the 11th inning. He takes over the catcher's spot, and here comes Mike Stanton, 0-3 with a .351 earned run average. Mike very sharp last night, as was the Met bullpen. He has to be with Abreu, Thome, and Burrow coming up here in the 8th.
And he is a workhorse out of that bullpen. He is one of those special guys that say, well, give me the ball. Anytime you need it, I'm out there.
Takes on Abreu first. Who's been something of a Met killer. Although not tonight. He is 0-for-3 with a pop-up and 2 flies to left. And Stanton sets and delivers. On the corner, strike 1. Bobby out of the rainforest region of Venezuela near Maracay. As Tom Seaver tells me, it's just gorgeous this time of the year.
Never been there, my man.
You want to go, though. Down and in, 1 ball and 1 strike. I can arrange that for you.
I went to Argentina one time. A friend of mine went down there and went trout fishing.
You went all the way to Argentina.
That's pretty much what my father said when I told him I'd done that too. With just about the same snicker of you stupid.
Hey, Thomas is a perfectly good lake right in the backyard. That's a foul ball.
That's a long. I can remember it like yesterday. I love my father just turned 93 2 days ago.
Congratulations, Mr. Seaver.
He said to me on the phone, he said, that's an awfully long way to go to catch a fish.
I like the idea that you're beginning to compare me in terms of worldly wisdom to your 93-year-old father.
I don't believe I said that.
I think that's exactly the road you were going to. The road to Maracay, as we say. Did you catch anything down there? 1-2 hammer to right center field. Abreu jumped on it. Cameron watching it. It sails right over the fence. A home run for Bobby Abreu, his 20th of the year. He just continues to hit home runs against the Mets, doesn't he? A 2-run homer last night. A game-winning home run a week ago Thursday before the break in the 9th inning to break the Mets' heart. And a home run here on a Friday at Shea. Second home run by the Phillies this evening. Thome has the other, and he's coming up now. That makes it 3-1. All-star form indeed for Bobby Abreu. 20 homers, now 63 RBIs. He has as many RBIs as Thome.
Quietly, as we were talking about before, he got something up. Middle in fastball. He's had good at bats every night to the plate. Every time to the plate this evening. I preface that by saying, you may not get a base hit. But one of his Abreu flew out center field and he popped out to left field twice. But his approach was correct. One time he flew out to left and he was trying to hit the ball to left center. And hit the bottom half of the ball and popped it up. And his whole mental approach is excellent to hit it. And there's success in different ways. Sometimes you don't succeed numerically, but I did what I wanted to do. At least I tried to hit the ball the other way. And that way you keep yourself closed, and then you get a ball that's up that you can handle, just like he got there off of a left-hand pitcher, and you don't miss it. You just stay so consistent with your philosophy of hitting. It's the same thing with pitching as well. And I got to get back to it. David, he makes it look so easy. He does make it look so easy.
He's got a lot more power than you might think. Thome taking ball 4.
And how many people would snicker when you say he's got as many RBIs as Thome?
I think it surprises people.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now he's on his way to 100 RBIs. So is Jim Thome. So is Pat Burrell, who's about to hit here. Stanton not nearly as sharp, obviously, as he was last night. He has allowed a homer and a walk here. And the Phillies with a little bit of breathing room now. 3-1 lead. Nobody out in the 8th inning. Pat the Bat, as he was known at the University of Miami, has walked and singled. First pitch across the knees. That is strike one. Game 3 of this series tomorrow afternoon at 1:20. Tom Glavine against Randy Wolf, a battle of left-handers. Glavine 7-7 with a 2.66 ERA. And Wolf 3-5 with a 3.56 earned run average. Rattle foul by Burrell. Talking about the RBIs in the heart of this order for Philadelphia. And all these guys, as mentioned, on a pace to drive in 100.
And you look at the leaders in the National League in RBI, and they're grouped right there. Scott Rowland's got 82. And it's Vinny Castilla, Pujols, and Overbay. And then Burrell, Abreu, and Thome. 3 guys in the middle of the lineup, and they're all 3 of them in the top 10 in RBIs in the National League.
The 0-2. Low on Burrell. Ricky Leday, the next man to bat. 7 hits for Philadelphia. 2 of them have left the park. Thome and Abreu. 1 run on 3 hits for the Mets off of Kevin Millwood. Thome with a short lead at first, being held by Piazza. That's fouled away. We're talking about Jim Thome. They say a mother never stops teaching her son. That's certainly true in the case of Jim's relationship with his mother, who was diagnosed with lung cancer in October 2003. Her outlook is very good as we speak here in 2004, but Jim says the ordeal made him realize exactly what is important in life, meaning his health and everybody else's health. And he has consequently quit chewing tobacco following his mother's cancer. Vowed to do that several months ago and living up to that word. So he said, making the All-Star team in the National League for the first time after 3 times making the American League squad was particularly meaningful this year. His mother absolutely thrilled. That pitch down in the dirt, stopped by Vance Wilson. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Burrell, who has hit 15 home runs. He has his power stroke back. The RBIs way up. Still strikes out a lot, but last year he hit 21 home runs for the entire season. A big fall off in power, a big fall off in batting average. He was dizzy with all the advice he was receiving from a multitude of pitching coaches and friends. Outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. So when he started spring training, he said, you know what, I took the winter, I figured out what I was doing wrong. I appreciate all the help, but I've got it licked. I'm all right. I'm going to get back to the hitter I was 2 years ago. There were a lot of snickers about that maybe he was in denial. Turns out that Pat knew best. He flies this one to right field, but Hidalgo is there. Thome goes halfway to second and now retreats. 1 man out. Leday to dig in next. The Mets trail by 2 here in their bid to get to first place tonight in the National League East. If it ends like this with the Phillies on top and the Montreal game against Atlanta ends like that, and it looks like the Pirates are going to beat the Marlins at a 6-2 Pittsburgh in the 9th inning, the Phillies are going to have sole possession of first again. Right now they're tied with Atlanta.
Well, there's only for the Mets, 74 games to play, or they're be scoreboard watching very closely for 74 ball games if it stays like this. It's awfully early, obviously, to think about pennant race with 4 ball clubs. But is there a sense of parity with the exception of one team, the Expos, in this National League East? Could be. The one thing that pops up is that Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves, and we talked about it in their broadcast the other day, they got Giles back in the lineup. You made a very good point. It's like getting a free agent. First thing out of your mouth was like getting a free agent doesn't cost you anything.
He had 2 doubles last night, his first game back. Talking about Marcus Giles, their all-star second baseman. That's across for strike.
And how long has Paul Bird been pitching for him?
He's been back for a handful of starts.
Handful, right? And he's pitching tonight.
And they're trailing in the 7th inning. I think in their zeal to see someone else other than the Braves win the division, a lot of people counted them out far too early. Vitalico warming up as Michaels has struck out, and that'll send up David Bell. Bell in the ball game is 0 for 3. 2 down here in the 8th. A run in for the Phillies. They're on top 3-1. Bell struck out looking in the 6th inning. Had an awful time of it last year with a herniated disc in his back. And simply did not put up the kind of numbers they had expected from him when he signed a 4-year, $17 million contract. He played in just 85 games. Hit 195 with 4 home runs. The season was really a wash for Bell. Well, already has 3 times as many home runs as he had all last year as he checks the swing, and it's outside. And he's excellent defensively. Although he's made more errors this year than you would think. He's made 14.
I bet you a lot of them. We talked about that when we were in the middle. There's the game final right there. The Marlins lose 6-2 to Pittsburgh.
Broken bat looper. Here comes Floyd and won't get there. It falls in for a base hit. Thome pulls up to second. A 2-out single for David Bell. Runners on at first and second with 2 down.
Little fastball in or slider, yeah, slider, and they got it in up the bat. Broken bat single. Cliff Floyd trying to decoy to hold Thome at second base. I don't think that would be a problem holding Thome right at second base. Huh? You don't think he's a threat.
Station to station best describes Jim Thome. It was from men like Jim that phrase was created, and he'd be the first one to giggle about it.
How about if you looked over the quarterback, or the quarterback looked over that line, you see Thome and you see Brad Penny. I mean, would they be a couple of linebackers at you?
I was thinking more like that's my offensive line. I feel a lot better there. Lieberthal 1 for 3 with a 4th inning single. And after him, they'll get a hitter up for the pitcher spot. First and second, 2 down. Tomas Perez has come to the on-deck area for the Phillies. 1 ball, 1 strike here.
Lieberthal and Pat Burrell have pretty much the same swing. That twist at the hips. 45-degree angle of the bat as it goes through the strike zone or finishes through the strike zone.
Lieberthal a couple of years ago hit 31 homers.
Greg Gross is the hitting coach for the Philadelphia Phillies.
This guy has a little bit of power. He's tailed off since then, but pops that one into left. Floyd there. Cliff on the move. He's got it. 2 men left. But once again, Bobby Abreu hits a home run against the New York Mets. He is making that a pattern. That one gone to make it 3-1 Philadelphia. A look now at our Lexus line score. We played 7.5 innings on a Friday night at Shea Stadium. The Phillies on top of the Mets 3-1. As you see, the Mets have been held to 3 hits. A couple of changes now for the Phils. Defensively, they're going to put Doug Glanville into the ball game in center field. And Worrell will do the pitching. Tim Worrell 2-3, a .355 earned run average. They have used him to close out a game and save it 9 times. It'll be Matsui, Piazza, and Floyd here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Kevin Millwood removed after 7 very good innings.
And I would tip my hat and say thank you very much, Mr. Larry Boa. Mets only had 3 hits off of Millwood, and his best inning was last inning, the 7th. That guy's a big league closer right there in Billy Wagner. Last inning, the Mets went 1-2-3, and he made it look easy talking about Millwood.
Matsui 1 for 3, fouls this one back for strike. Kaz with an RBI double in the 5th inning, the only RBI the Mets have tonight. Milwood struck out 6. He walked 4. He got wild in the 3rd and 4th, walking 2 in each of those innings. Then he settled down. And the Mets didn't have a hit off him until Jose Reyes raked a 2-out double in the 5th inning. Outside, 1-1.
Millwood 105 pitches. There's Mike Stanton. You can see that pitch going in there to Bobby Abreu, and he's still not happy about it. 105 pitches for the starter for the Phillies, 60 of which out of the 105 were strikes.
Little trickler on the infield, a sliding knockdown, but no play, and Worrell can't get it out. Matsui on an infield single, just to the left of the mound. Batted it down, had no play.
Well, the inability of the Phillies pitcher helped the Mets win last night, and here again, and we're out trying to make a fancy play out of it. It looked like David Bell was right there, too. Yeah, David Bell might have been able to make that play. And of course, the speed of a Kazou Matsui puts the pressure on anybody that's playing defense. A good break there for the Mets.
Mike Piazza 0 for 3, struck out looking in the 5th inning. The crowd springing to life. They haven't had many chances tonight. That was just the 4th hit of the game for the Mets. Piazza among those Mets, very happy that Milwood is now in the shower, because he didn't do anything with him, and rarely does, actually. There's a strike. 0-1. The Mets trying hard not to have deja vu here. Back on July 8th, they had pulled within 1 game of Philadelphia, and that was on the road at Citizens Bank, but lost that game 5-4. They had the opportunity to tie for the lead in the division, but fell 5-4. Swing popped up. Foul ground, third base side. Bell in, and he has it. A rough night for Piazza, 0 for 4. And Mike Piazza hearing some boos descending from the crowd at Shea. Here comes Larry Bowen now. He's going to bring in Real Cormier, the left-hander, to face the left-handed Cliff Floyd here. So actually it's going to be Wagner. It'll be Billy Wagner to come on. He had him warmed up, and in he comes with 1 man out. And we'll be back at Shea Stadium in just a moment. Well, to say he's a hard-throwing lefty would be an understatement. Billy Wagner 3-0, a 352 earned run average. He missed a month earlier this season because of a strained left groin, but he is not allowed a run in his last 7 appearances. He appears to be getting it together.
Excuse me for laughing, or I should say chuckling at that. I mean, it's a perfect statement.
Oh, he can bring it. First pitch under the chin, and Cliff Floyd looking for a safe place to lay down. Ball 1.
And Billy Wagner does have good control. He's trying to go up and in here. Well, whether it's for effect or not, that's old school baseball right there. You and I were chucking about looking at it. Billy Wagner last year pitched 86 innings, struck out 105 men. You're talking about big league fastball. This is legitimate on the mound.
Oh, he's hit 100. Billy the Kid. Floyd 1 for 3 tonight. He is 0 for 3 lifetime against Wagner. Hidalgo up next, a former teammate in Houston. Swing and a miss. That one ran underneath his hands.
Well, the clock here at Shea Stadium says 98, and it's on the black inside. Cliff Floyd did not give an inch either, did he? After getting knocked on his keister. That is a big league fastball.
Matsui leading at first. Swing and a miss. Another blazing heater there. 97 on the radar gun. Well, he wrapped that bat around his shoulders, didn't he? Floyd is going for the downs on every swing, no matter how hard Wagner throws it. Swing popped him up. That'll twist on down the right field line and out of play. Philadelphia on top here, 3-1 eighth inning. Mike Piazza popped up moments ago after Matsui had beat out an infield hit. So the tying run is in the batter's box. Floyd with 13 home runs. He's hit 8 of them in the last 28 games. And the 1-2. Low. Wagner has been very effective. Has been effective in a lot of ballparks, but particularly effective here at Shea Stadium. In 14 career games in this park, his ERA is 1.69, 2-0, 5 saves. Fouled off again by Floyd.
If Floyd is doing what you call turn up the dial, when you have somebody on the mound like Wagner who can throw, and you see his numbers at Shea Stadium, not too shabby, who can really throw that fastball and get it in the high 90s on the radar gun. The old turn up the dial, and that's what Cliff's doing. The other thing about it, he's got a nasty slider as well. Cliff Floyd has seen one slider in the 5 pitches that he's seen here tonight.
Matsui a tiny lead at first base and a 2-2. Ground ball right side. Polanco feeds second, got the out, back to first, not in time for the double play. Matsui erased as the runner at second base, and they're 2 away.
Make sure of one in this situation when you're up by a couple of runs, and that's what the Phillies infielders do. Nice strong throw by Polanco from second base to the shortstop Jimmy Rollins. If Floyd runs fairly well, the chances of getting the double play in a ball that was not hit that hard kind of slim and none. Basic play played well by the interior defense for Philadelphia.
Who has the advantage here? Hidalgo used to back up Wagner when Wagner was the closer with the Astros, and Richard was an outfielder for Houston. Teammates together, but this is the first time they've ever squared off in this scenario, and that's in their first strike.
I don't think you have to guess what you're going to get.
Although he did start him with a slider there.
I know, that's the amazing part about it, right?
But
still, you're going to look fastball. You have to look fastball. You can't look for slider. You have to look fastball if you're the hitter.
Floyd takes off, a swing and a miss, and no throw by Lieberthal, though. Down to second base moves Cliff Floyd.
And he got another slider. You're outsmarting me here today, O'Brien. You know that? Okay, two sliders in a row. And what has Richard Hidalgo got to be looking for? You're exactly right.
Billy Wagner throws anywhere from 95 to 100.
You're picking my pocket. You know that tonight. I'm bruising my ego here.
Well, Floyd just picked the pocket of the Phillies as he takes second. So a single will make this a 1-run game, but it is 0-2 on Hidalgo. In there for strike 3. Certainly got the heat that time. And Hidalgo caught looking. Right down the middle at the knees. 3-1 Phillies. On to the 9th inning at Shea Stadium. And the Mets are down 3-1 to the Phillies. Philadelphia brings up Glanville, then Rollins and Polanco. Doug Glanville is first at bat tonight. Eyeballs a strike from the left-hander Johnny Franco, who comes in 2-5.
Senior member of the staff for the New York Mets. Pretty good numbers. Hold him right there, Johnny, my boy.
Slapped into left center for a base hit. Glanville is safely aboard with a leadoff single in the 9th inning. Bobby Abreu homered in the 8th inning to provide a little bit of a cushion for Philadelphia. Hey, don't miss the news at 10. It's coming up right after the game, right here on the WB11. 9th hit of the ball game for Philadelphia. The Mets have been held to 4 by Milwood and company. Jimmy Rollins has 2 of those 9 hits. 2 for 4, pair of singles, 2 stolen bases. One thing about Rollins in getting back to the leadoff spot, they had him in the 6th spot when the season got underway. He's really cut down on his strikeouts. Used to be a guy you could count on to whiff 100 times a year. They're way down now.
You made the point about that, about Polanco not striking out much, and the compliment of Jimmy Rollins getting there and not punching out so much. I mean, it makes a much better offense at the top of the lineup. They put on the hit and run. That might stay in play right here.
Piazza, maybe a play near the stands. He's got it. He bumps into that side rail right near the cameras, but Mike hangs on for the catch. And Rollins is retired quickly.
You look at our accurate defensive gem right there. Well played by Mike Piazza, banging into that photographer's booth right there. Never look down, but you just kind of know how far away that fence is. Well played.
1 man out. Polanco steps in. He's gone 0 for 4. Twice he's hit it to second base on the ground, once in the air, and he's also struck out. Jae Weong Seo started tonight for the Mets. He went 7 innings. He allowed 2 runs, 6 hits, a very strong effort, and yet, even though he had some early trouble, particularly in the first inning when they loaded the bases, they did not score. Even given the fact he put up a really fine night, he's on the hook for the loss right now. Montreal has a 4-1 lead on Atlanta. They're in the 8th inning, top half, Expos batting. The Pirates have already defeated the Marlins 6-2. They knocked A.J. Burnett around tonight. I wonder, is that the team that most look at when they eyeball this division and say, well, they're going to pull it together. They're going to rip off 7 or 8. Talking about the Marlins, especially when they get Beckett back. Florida didn't lose a whole lot from last year. Maybe not a whole lot other than their heart and soul when you talk about Pudge Rodriguez.
Well, that's a very good point too. But I'm not totally sold on their pitching. I mean, it's not their talent. Burnett, he's got lights out stuff, but inconsistent. And that blister, that so-called blister, is going to be a problem. A good play right there by the Phillies.
Getting behind the runner, Glando rounding second on his way to third. First hit of the night for Polanco, and they're on the corners with 1 out for the Phillies.
Beautifully executed by the Philadelphia Phillies. Nice call by Larry Bowa, the manager, to put it on in that count. A guy at the plate that can really handle the bat. Big hole on the right side. Not a big swing. Just slash it over there. Excellent speed on first base. And Glanville easily to third. And guess who's walking up?
Bobby Abreu coming up again.
Like the old song, Mama, look what just walked through the door.
Hit his 20th home run of the season in the 8th inning. Continues to be a New York Met nemesis. A home run last night.
Just a gem, and one of those guys. I mean, they come along. Piazza's the same kind of guy. You come in, there's the name on the lineup.
That's ball 1.
Piazza's a little bit different because you got to give your catcher a day off here or there. But you just pencil him right in. Say, there he is, 158 games, 160 games, 158 games.
He's hitting .377 with men in scoring position. The 1-0. A strike. 1 down. Franco looking for a double play ball here. Philadelphia has out-hit the Mets 10-4. Neither side has made an error. And Abreu will step out, asking for time. We talked about the opening of Citizens Bank Park, which is a great place to hit. Bobby Abreu hit the first home run ever in that ballpark. Outside and stopped by Vance Wilson. So that bat went on to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And so did a bat of Jim Thome's when he hit his 400th career home run in Philadelphia in the new digs.
Well, Johnny Franco behind in the count here. 2 balls and a strike. And Abreu was 7 for 15 lifetime off of Franco.
2-1 pitch up the middle, almost took his head off into center field. That chases in Glanville. So Abreu continues to hurt the Mets and John Franco yet again. That makes it 4-1.
This is a scary moment right here. At least John Franco picked up the ball and get his head out of the way. He didn't like the pitch, didn't like the result, but certainly Bobby Abreu did, and he has put on a pretty good show here tonight.
Yep, 2 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs, and saving his RBIs for the 8th and 9th innings in a close game.
He's had good at bats every time, and remember the play in which he held Cliff Floyd to a single at first base
on a line drive off the wall.
Came off the wall in right field. And turned around and threw a cannon shot to second base.
Here's Thome now. A home run in the 3rd inning. A 2-run shot, his 29th. Also grounded out and walked twice. Inside, ball 1. Only 1 out. A run in, 1st and 2nd for Philadelphia. Art Howe beginning to feel like this is July 8th all over again. His Mets had pulled within 1 of Philadelphia on that date. Lost to drop 2 back. Came into tonight 1 game back. Base hit into right field. Here comes another run. Polanco churning home. He is in. Throw to 3rd, not in time. 5-1 Philadelphia. Thome with his 3rd RBI of the ball game. And the bullpen, which was so good last night, has not been good at all tonight for the New York Mets. Vitalico coming on. The bullpen active once again. Make progress every day with Verizon. We'll be back. 2,584 had high expectations for tonight. This may have been dashed over the last couple of innings. Vitalico coming on to try and stop some of the bleeding here, as the Phillies have scored 3 runs in the last 2 frames on a total of 6 hits, including a home run by Bobby Abreu. Pat Burrell will get into the batter's box here. Not Jason Michaels. It'll be Burrell. And runners on at 1st and 3rd. And the men on the bases have done a lot of that damage tonight. Abreu has driven in 2 runs. Jim Thome has driven in 3. Burrell takes a pitch in there for a strike. 5-1 Philadelphia. 4 singles here in the 9th. Little dribbler. Vitalico with it coming home. Slings it there. Wilson will chase down Abreu and tag him out. He got him. The other runners hold up at 1st and 2nd. 2 down. So Abreu out, and Burrell reaches 1st base here in the 9th.
Off the end of the bat, and a real nice play by Vitalico and an excellent play by Vance Wilson. Vitalico never had a thought of going to second base and trying to get the double play. No way you're going to get it. You save the run by cutting it off at home. And Abreu was taken out by Wilson about halfway down the line to home plate. Good defensive play on 2 ends right there.
Here's Wagner to bat for himself with a 5-1 lead. 1 for 16 as a hitter, and we use that phrase
easy now,
graciously.
easy now.
When it comes to hitting,
let's treat these pitchers with respect over there.
1 ball and 1 strike.
He's slamming. 1 for what did you say?
16.
Well, you may have a point there.
The prosecution rests, Your Honor.
Yes, yes. The judiciary, you are correct.
2 men on. He fouled that one away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
But a fine looking swing.
Pretty good cut there, yeah.
Maybe a little long and a little slow, but I mean.
Otherwise, perfect.
On a still frame basis, it was pretty good.
You slow it down and pause it. You know, this is a good looking cut.
You could tell Billy Wagner we're trying to help him out. Don't give up your day job.
He's awfully good at that. That's in there for strike 3. And the side retired. But not a good inning for the Met bullpen. Abreu strikes once more. 5-1 Philadelphia. Doesn't seem like the Phillies like company when it comes to first place in the National League East. Here's Ty Wigginton taking inside for ball 1. Last night, Atlanta, for the first time since June 30th, gave Philadelphia some company atop the division by drawing into a first place tie. But the Braves are on the verge of losing tonight. Fouled away off the hands of Wigginton and out of play. The Braves are down in the 9th inning 5-1 to Montreal. The Marlins have already lost. And the Mets are down here 5-1 in the 9th with Mike Cameron up next. So he came on the air tonight really making 2 points. One of them was we could have 4 teams in first place at the end of the night. Bell with the backhand stab, and he throws out Wigginton. 1 down. The other thing we talked about was the Mets' necessity keeping Abreu and Thome in the ballpark. And they've been unable to do that at all. Home runs by both Bobby Abreu and Jim Thome, and they've combined to drive in all 5 runs.
Well, up to the point we made too is virtually halfway through the season, or just past halfway. 120 RBIs between Abreu and Jim Thome. Abreu a couple more RBIs tonight. Thome a couple. Abreu almost took John Franco's head off. Those are scary moments.
Yeah. He's hit some line shots by Franco before. And John Franco gave up another big hit there. There were 4 singles in the 9th inning. Up high on Cameron.
Well, one thing you learn about Billy Wagner very quickly, he's not afraid to throw inside regardless if he throws 100 miles an hour. He is old school. He'll make you respect that ball on the inside part of the plate or in off the inside part of the plate.
1 man out, fouled straight back by Cameron. What is hard to figure out about Wagner is just where it comes from, because he may be 5'11". That's what they list him at. He's probably a tad shorter than that. He's about 192 pounds outside, and yet here's a guy who can throw it 97, 98, 99, 100 miles an hour.
I have the answer.
Where does it come from?
I have the answer. It's called gene pool.
2-2, swung on and missed, took something off, and he struck out Mike Cameron.
That's not even fair. I mean, you can throw the ball that hard and then throw this pitch over, and that's a nasty breaking ball right there. But you just can't. You can't go away from the fastball when you face Wagner. You just can't.
Shane Spencer, maybe the last hope for the New York Mets tonight.
This is a good matchup here, too. You got a pretty good fastball hitter.
He drills in the strike. 0-1 on Spencer, who's hitting .288 with 3 homers. The Mets 1 game out at the moment, but in just a few seconds could be 2 games back in the National League East. Looks like the Expos are about to beat Atlanta, barring a late rally in the 9th inning by the Braves. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's a strike. So to count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bases clean, 2 down, bottom of the 9th, 5-1 Phillies. And Wagner pitches. Dribbled back toward the mound. Wagner's throw ends the ball game. Philadelphia now leading the New York Mets by 2 games again. The Mets miss an opportunity here. It's the GM turning point of the game.
Well, our GM turning point of the ball game. They're the guys in the middle of the lineup. Jim Thome, the home run in the 3rd inning, a 2-run shot off of Jae Weong Seo. And then Bobby Abreu, number 3 hitter. 3 and 4 in this lineup for Abreu. That was his 20th home run. And the middle of that lineup put the points on the board for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Phillies win it 5-1. That's it from Shea Stadium. Join us on the WB11 for our next Met telecast Sunday at 1 o'clock when the Mets play the Phillies. Now stay tuned for the WB11 News at 10. For Tom Seaver, I'm Dave O'Brien. Good night from Shea.
Bertie Anastas and Ross Abrams, weeknights on CBS 2 News at 5 at 11.
They're officially playing important games at Shea these days. The Mets Phillies, they're so important that Chris Raggi is there live. Chris.
Yes, this is a vital series. You hate to get ahead of yourself, but it is important. The Mets now just a game out of first place in the NL East. Last night, a heroic effort by the Mets. And joining me right now, Ty Wigginton, the hero of last night's game. Ty, let's talk about that play. First of all, bottom 11. I know in the ninth inning you wanted to redeem yourself after striking out, but you come back bottom of 11 last night. You guys win this thing versus the Phils. How important is it to grab the first one in this series?
I think it's huge. You know, we set a goal before every series is to win every series throughout the course of the year, and usually it really helps to get off on a good note and get that first W out of the way.
Can you just feel a different level of excitement though in the locker room, especially after a win last night?
You know what, the locker room has been great all year from the first day of spring training. Everybody's come in. We decided to put everything aside and just focus on W's and not worry about too much about personal stats. Just find ways to get that win.
Now, I know the last couple of weeks, obviously, every time there's a trade rumor with this team, your name is mentioned. Has it been a motivating factor? Because obviously it hasn't distracted you much.
No, to be honest, I really don't think about it much. You know, once I step between them white lines, it's hard enough just to catch the white thing and hit it and throw it. And so really, that's my main focus, just trying to hit that little white thing.
And tell me about this race in the East. It is a 4-horse race right now, and you guys can put yourself in even better position with another win tonight.
Yeah, it'd be nice to come out and get tonight's W. Really don't want to get ahead of ourselves and start thinking about too many of the future games, but we really got to focus on taking it one game at a time and keep showing our heart and desire every night we come out, and I think that's a big part of this club.
All right, Ty, thanks so much. Best of luck to you tonight. It's fireworks night here at Shea Stadium. Make some fireworks of your own once again. Batting .347 in the month of July. Congratulations and thanks once again. Ty Wigginton of the Mets right there, last night's hero. Now the Yankees are in Detroit tonight. Yankees with Javier Vazquez on the hill going for his 11th win on the year. And do not forget, folks, we have the Yankees tonight right here.
Today on Mets Inside Pitch, the Mets try and catch the fish as they head into the break. A look at all the runs, hits, and errors as we recap the first half of the 2004 season and look ahead as the Mets come out of the break. Then an in-studio visit from the general manager of the New York Mets, Jim Duquette. All that and much, much more today on Mets Inside Pitch.
Touch him all. Well back. Cameron. Got him. That's a gunner. Swing out and miss. Listen to this place. Matsui delivers. Deep. Grand slam. Piazza.
Mets Inside Pitch is presented by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. We understand. We live here too.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Fran Healy, and welcome to another edition of Inside Pitch brought to you by Mercedes. On the show this week, we're going to have a midway report card for the New York Mets. That'll come later on the show. Also, we'll visit with the general manager of the New York Mets, Jim Duquette. But first, let's take a look at the highlights on the scorecard. The Mets wrapped up the first half of the season in Miami with a 3-game set against Florida. To the 4th inning, the Mets got on the board behind 2 of the hottest hitters in their lineup, Ty Wigginton and Mike Cameron.
Ooh, Wigginton hits one high in the air to left. Let's see if he got enough. Willingham. And it is on the top and gone. Home run. Cameron to left field. Oh. Well, now he's watching this one. Mike Cameron hits his 14th of the year, and the Mets go back-to-back and take the lead.
Unfortunately for New York, the slim 1-run lead evaporated in the 6th when He Shop Choi went deep with a man aboard. But the Mets, who have shown the ability to come back all year, did so again as they mounted an 8th-inning rally. A single by Jose Reyes and a ground rule double off the bat of Kazou Matsui put runners at 2nd and 3rd with no one out. Reyes then came home on a ground out by Richard Hidalgo, and the game was suddenly tied. After Cliff Floyd drew an intentional walk, Jae Weong stepped up to put the visiting Mets ahead.
Another breaking ball. Ripped to left field, and Wigginton delivers. And Cliff Floyd's on the run. He's going to third. He'll be held there. Wigginton into second with a double. It gives the Mets the lead, and how good must that feel?
One batter later, Eric Valent stepped in with the bases loaded.
Curveball, there's the double play ball, but it got through the middle. And the Mets get two. Streaking into third is Cameron, and the Mets have a 6-3 lead.
4-run, 8th-inning outburst was more than enough as the Mets take the series opener by a 6-3 final. As New York took the field in Florida on Saturday night, they found themselves just 2 games off the pace in the National League's Eastern Division. Unfortunately, the Mets got off to a poor start in Game 2 of the 3-game set with the Marlins when Mike Lowell stepped up in the first inning with 2 men aboard.
Swinging a drive. Mike Lowell drives this one deep to left, and it's gone.
Florida eventually stretched their lead to 4-0 before the Mets finally got on the board. New York would once again stage a rally, this time in the 7th.
Grounded sharply, fair ball. That one got by Lowell and down the line up against the fence. Cameron will score easily. Spencer with a pinch hit RBI double, and the Mets get on the scoreboard. It is 4-1. Little looper, center field. That's going to settle down for a base hit. Spencer is in. It is a 4-2 game.
Unfortunately, their attempt at a second straight late-inning comeback would fall short as they could only muster 2 runs. New York went on to drop Game 2 of the series by a 5-2 final. The Mets and the Marlins wrapped up the series as well as the first half of the 2004 season on Sunday afternoon as Al Leiter took the hill for New York against Florida's Dontrelle Willis. Unfortunately for the Mets, Leiter, who entered the contest with a minuscule 2.05 ERA, struggled from the outset. The veteran lefty escaped any damage through the first 2 innings, but his luck ran out when Jeff Conine stepped in with the bases loaded in the 3rd.
Swinging a high fly ball left field. Backing up Spencer, turning around, and is gone. That's a grand slam for Conine.
That was enough for the Marlins, who hand the Mets a 5-2 defeat as New York closes out a successful first half on a down note.
Mets take on the Phillies on Sunday, July 18th. Be one of 25,000 adults 13 and over to come out for the 1:10 p.m. game and receive a free Mets sports bag courtesy of Verizon. You won't want to miss this great item. For your tickets, stop by Shea Stadium or Keyspan Park, visit a Mets clubhouse shop, log on to Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX.
Welcome back to Mets Inside Pitch, brought to you by Mercedes. Well, we're at the halfway point in Major League Baseball. The Mets are in the thick of the National League East pennant race. Let's take a look at how they got there. The opening of the Major League Baseball season is a new beginning for all. A fresh start where anything is possible and optimism reigns. When the sun came up on the 2004 season, there was no team more anxious to turn things around than the New York Mets.
Well, you know, I felt good about our club, you know, but, you know, you never know how you're going to perform. You know, you always have that big question mark over your head.
I thought we had a better chance to be on the upper echelon of our division than people were giving us credit for.
From the very first day of spring training, we all pretty much decided, you know, we got to check our egos at the door and have one big goal, and that's finding a way to get W's.
From day one, the 2004 Mets looked like a different club from the previous year's version, and nowhere was the change more evident than in the performance of the starting pitchers who stepped up as the catalysts of the resurgence in Flushing.
Strike three, how about that? He did strike out the side. Got him there, that's a swing. Traxler's got Andrew Jones.
Probably been the most consistent facet of the team from the beginning of the season to the break. Constantly going out there, giving us opportunities to win. Very few games have they gotten away from us, and that's the name of the game. If you get that kind of pitching, anything can happen.
We've been healthy. You know, last year we lost Tommy early. We lost Al, you know, a little bit last year. So the health issue and better execution has really helped a lot.
I think overall our defense is much more improved, which in turn has given the pitching staff a lot more confidence to go out there and make pitches, and it's been very helpful.
After some early success and with nearly 1/3 of the season gone, the team hovered around the 500 mark. Yet critics pointed to what many felt would be the Mets' Waterloo on the horizon, a pivotal 12-game stretch against division leaders Philadelphia and Florida.
That one swatted out, deep fly left center. Beer back turning around, she's gone!
Emerging from the 2-week stretch, 6-6 against their division rivals, the Mets had sent a strong message to the division as well as within their own clubhouse that this is a team to be reckoned with.
I think once we went through that initial stretch and saw that, you know what, we match up okay with everybody here, that if we can just stay away from injuries, which has always been a problem for us, and just, you know, stay away from making mistakes, and we certainly have as much of a chance to be competitive in this division as anybody else.
Perhaps one of the most exciting aspects of the team's first half charge has been their resiliency, a trait that has resulted in a number of late inning thrillers.
Left field, did he get enough? Did he get enough? Yes, he did! Piazza wins it in the 11th. Right field, base hit, and the Mets win it! Swinging a high drive, deep left, Mike Cameron, you are walking off a winner!
Even when we're losing games, we're still in them. You know, we're not really getting blown out a lot. So I think that helps keep our confidence level high, and that enables us to bounce back.
I just think it shows the heart and the hustle and the desire to be good. To be great, not just good. And it's just a matter of us coming through some timely hitting and playing the game the right way and playing it hard.
The Mets got a boost in May and June with the return of Cliff Floyd, speedy Jose Reyes, and the trade that brought slugger Richard Hidalgo.
Swinging a deep drive left field, this one's gone right now. Look at this baby sail, gone!
Hidalgo, since he's been here, has just been lights out. I can't think of a hotter hitter in our lineup. He always seems he's coming up in big situations. He's coming through.
June brought with it the start of 6 high-intensity battles with the crosstown rival New York Yankees. A Subway series that ended with a stirring weekend sweep of the Bombers at Shea.
Swinging a high fly ball to the right. Jumped on it. Sheffield back to the wall. She's gone. Slow roll. Is this going to end it? Yes. Mets win 10-9. What is it? One down. That baby's out of here.
What was optimism in April is now confidence in July, as the team that many picked as an also-ran when the season started now emerges from the All-Star break just 2 games back of the division lead. This past Tuesday, Major League Baseball held their annual Show of Stars as the best in the game gathered in Houston for the 2004 All-Star Game. Representing the Mets in this year's Midsummer Classic was catcher Mike Piazza and pitcher Tom Glavine. For Piazza, it was the 11th All-Star appearance in his outstanding career, while for Glavine, it was the 9th time he represented the National League in the Midsummer Classic. Our In the Studio segment today features the general manager of the New York Mets, Jim Duquette. And Duke, talk to us about your ball club. We're at the halfway mark. You've got to be pleasantly surprised. I mean, you put up with injuries in spring training and early in the year.
Yeah, I think, you know, if we were diagramming where we'd be at this point of the season, halfway point, and knowing that, you know, ahead of time that we would have lost Cliff Floyd for 4.5 weeks and Al Leiter for 3 weeks, and we wouldn't have had Jose Reyes back until the middle of June, and missed Wigginton for a 15-day period, and then you said we were right in the mix of things, a couple games out of first place. I would say I would take that any time. But, you know, having said that, there's been other I'd say missed opportunities that we feel like we really maybe could be even better than where we've been.
Now, I know Met fans watching the show are saying, ask him about David Wright.
Well, I mean, he's one of those players. He's a special player, we feel, and you know, anytime you can have a player like this that you've signed and drafted and then developed through your system. You know, he's a guy that every team asks me for as we're trying to improve our team and make trades. Every general manager has asked me about him. They ask if he's the real deal, or they tell me, hey, we really think he's the real deal. And you know, I hate to put all sorts of expectations or high hopes on him, but he's a guy that we really like and has shown in the last year and a half that he's moved fast through our system as a guy that we feel could be an everyday type player for us at third base. And you know, the big debate within our organization is you know, is he going to be ready to be brought up this year, or is he a guy that we can plan on for next season at the beginning of the year? And we're still sorting through that. He's had a great start there in AAA, and we'll just keep an eye on him.
I know you were focused on the bottom part of the pitching staff. Will we see any changes in the second half?
Well, that's still an area that we're trying to improve, whether it's the starting rotation or the bullpen. The price for a starting pitcher right now is extremely high, and rightly so. I mean, I understand that, but you know, we're not going to mortgage our future, our players that we think can help us either this year or next year to sign a rental player that you don't have any chance of signing. And that's why we decided to shy away from Beltran as well. And I think that you know, if the price is right, we'll go out and get a starter that upgrades us. If we have to try to do that from within, I mean, Scott Erickson has had a couple of real good starts here as of late in AAA. Maybe he's an answer. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. But you know, sometimes if you can't improve your starting rotation, you can go out and find a reliever or two and strengthen your bullpen, and therefore strengthen your starters.
The 2-2 to Hidalgo, swinging a deep drive left field. This one's gone right now. Look at this baby sail. Gone! Hidalgo strikes again.
Duke, you pulled off a trade this season for an outfielder who at one time put together some real good seasons with the Houston Astros, and he's still young enough to pick it up, I guess. Tell us about Richard Hidalgo.
We felt like this was an opportunity. We thought there was a hole in the fifth spot in the lineup, and it's something that we'd hoped we could fill from within, and didn't seem like that was going to work. So we set out to try to find that type of guy, that type of hitter. And you know, in normal years, if Richard Hidalgo is swinging the bat like he's capable of, and like he's done in the past, you don't have the ability to trade for him. But he went through a struggle there in the month of May. We had a couple of people in our clubhouse, Matt Galante in particular, and Art Howe had Richard when he first came up to the big leagues, that had a track record with Richard, knew about his makeup and his background, and everyone that had seen him felt like this was a guy that just needed a change of scenery. He had gotten into the doghouse of Jimmy Williams at the time, and we weren't quite sure why or how. But a lot of it was, from our research, was that he just lacked production there for the month of May, and we felt like if he had got himself in the lineup on a regular basis and we made a couple of small adjustments in his swing, that he could be at least better than what he had shown there in Houston. So we felt like it was low risk. That was primarily the main purpose. Is we gave up David Weathers, but we felt like we had depth in our system and in our organization in the bullpen, and to get the chance for some upside from an everyday player such as Hidalgo, we just thought was so great. And Jeremy Griffiths, even though we liked Griff, he wasn't a guy that we thought would factor in at the major league level. So we really thought it was a low risk, high reward type trade for us.
Well, we're heading into the second half of the season. My special guest has been Jim Duquette, general manager of the New York Mets, and good luck with trades and with the team on the field.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Frank.
Stay with us. More from Shea Stadium right after this commercial break.